Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
I thought it was way more complicated than I thought it was, but it's really simple. Now you're going to be angry at me when you hear how simple it is. Great. I now know why you podcast.
I'm not angry. I'm thrilled.
Come with me if you want to podcast.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to do.
Podcast La Vista, baby.
Hasta la podcast, baby.
That was almost the title for this miniseries.
Hasta la podcast, baby? Or
I
podcast
think
la
we
vista?
talked about Podsta La
Podsta la
Vista.
Vista.
That was a close contender, was Podsta La Vista cast.
Oh, God. We were like 5 minutes before starting an episode just like, oh, what the fuck are we going to call it? And just started yelling lines at each other.
Did Planet Hollywood ever have a dish called Pasta La Vista?
They might have.
They
I'm
probably
going to look
did,
it up.
right? Hey, everybody, my name's Griffin.
I'm David Sims.
This is a podcast called Blank Check with Griffin and David.
Yes.
You don't have to explain who the Griffin and David are because we just did that.
Those are our names.
We go through directors who have early success
There's a food truck called Pasta La Vista, baby.
with no affiliation to Arnold, to the Governor.
Specializing in traditional and authentic Italian cuisine, from salads to sandwiches, and of course, pasta, baby! That's what the website says.
I was doing the very formal introduction, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
blank checks and they bounce. Yeah, Jim Cameron.
Well, you skipped a couple steps there. People won't understand. That won't track.
Yeah, definitely.
Early success, get blank checks to make crazy movies.
Sure.
We do miniseries, different directors.
Mm-hmm.
We're currently on our James Cameron miniseries, which is not titled Podsta La Vista cast.
No, it's got a great title that everyone loves.
Podinator, Judgement cast.
You can't even get through it without laughing.
Because I'm having a fun time. I'm going, hoo-hoo-hoo.
Exactly.
What a fun time. One of my good friends, Alex Perlin, I made a joke that he still to this day says is the funniest thing I will ever say.
Sure. I'll be the judge of that.
Get ready to laugh. We were walking by Planet Hollywood in Times Square, and they had a Freddy versus Jason promotion.
Sure.
And he was like, "What is a Freddy versus Jason promotion?
Jason?
What is a Freddy versus?" I have to nail this joke.
Yeah, go ahead.
What does a Freddy versus Jason promotion entail? And I went, I don't know, spaghetti versus lobster.
What on earth is happening?
Spaghetti versus lobster. It's
I swear to God.
one of those antagonistic entrees when a battle is waged on your plate. Whoever wins, you're full.
All right, that was funny.
Thank
I like that.
Today we're talking about the Podsta La Vista cast itself.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about the titular film of our miniseries.
Yes. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is the big day. This is always the lunar eclipse of our podcast is when we get to the titular film. And, oh boy, whoa Nelly.
Whoa Nelly.
I mean, in anyone else's career, this would be the biggest film they had ever made.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
It's still one of the biggest films ever made.
Yeah. But dude just kept on topping himself off. We have a very special guest here to talk with us about the movie.
Yes, we do.
He's one of my oldest friends,
Mm-hmm.
one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
He is an improviser, comedian of many sorts,
Mm-hmm.
all around New York City. Performs regularly with the team Metal Boy
At the Magnet
at
Theater.
the Magnet Theater. That's sort of the big house.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
a metal boy?
Metal Boy.
And this movie's about a metal man.
It's true.
Well,
Two metal men.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Carry on.
Now you know why I'm here.
Yeah. Now you know why we cry.
Yeah.
But here's the biggest credit, and I don't want to bury this. Okay.
Oh, okay.
He is part of the original 4-person consortium that created
Oh, it's true.
the parameters and the rules for comedy points.
Yeah, the founding fathers.
The founding fathers.
You know what? Since I've been listening to the podcast
Yeah.
and hearing you guys talk about comedy points, I've tried to remember its inception.
Okay, so we're going to get into this. I'm going to introduce you, and then we're going to get into
Okay,
this because
yeah,
this is
yeah.
very important.
Okay.
So he's part of the original Mount Pointsmore.
Yeah.
Myself, Patrick May, Alejandro Collini,
Mhm.
and our very special guest today, Sam Rogal.
Hey,
Great.
thank you for having me.
Thank
Hi,
you so
Sam.
much for being here.
Very excited. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Great picture.
Yeah.
It's one of the best talkies we've ever gotten.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't remember the exact moment. We did an annual trip every year to visit friends of ours in Toronto that we called Man Party.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still do that, or do you not anymore?
It's been hard. Schedules have been tough.
It's in development hell.
I remember Griffin tweeting
Yeah.
from a Man Party recently-ish, like a couple years
we didn't
ago.
do one this year.
No, I think it was
15 was the
while.
last
and
one.
it
Man
seemed
Party
like
15.
a disaster.
Well, it always is. I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of the
okay.
bit of Man Party is that we tweet about like getting ready for it
Yeah.
as if it's going to be this like huge fucking like Coachella kind of awesome like kind of love-in kind of thing, and then it's always just within like 12 hours of us landing, us tweeting about being miserable.
Right.
I would say it's like a blank check film.
100%.
Where there's like a lot of money goes into
prep.
it.
Yes, a lot of money. They've
a lot
got
of
hype.
prep.
they get
Yeah.
more expensive every year.
It's true.
We always did talk about it as a franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to branch out because we did a couple spin. I mean, we did Man America. There was Manifornia, which was I was not part
It
of.
was just me and Ale.
Right, but that was kind of like the Kardashian mothership, which then has like Chloe and Courtney go west or whatever those.
Guys,
Yeah.
this is all great, but let's never speak of it
okay,
again.
so let's talk about the important thing here, which is comedy.
For fuck's sake.
Okay, so in one of the rides up, somehow that came up. I think.
All I remember,
Yeah.
all I can take credit for, is I was definitely the one who came up with the rules.
Yeah. Here's the thing, because we
Isn't
play.
the rule basically like you can't keep track?
There
you
are
can't-
more because
okay.
we play pretty fast and loose here.
Yeah, you guys don't play by the rules.
on the show, but Sam is a very organized person.
Yeah.
Sam believes in structure. He's the James Cameron of Man Party.
Sure.
And he established the rules. It was like, because it's 4 comedians in like a 12-hour car ride, and a lot of fucking jokes are happening. Everyone's trying to one-up each other. And it sort of got to this point where it was like, rather than laughing, because we might not have the energy to laugh or we're hungover, whatever the fuck it is, you can hand someone a comedy point.
Yeah, I get that. It's
And
like
that-
a fave.
Right. And then the rules were established that you could give between 1 and 3 comedy points.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
But Pat May, the 4th member of Mount Pointsmore, was the only one who could give more than 3. He could give 5.
Yeah. Since then, I mean, the rules have gone out the window.
Now
That's
it's
fine.
anyone can get anything. But then
Yeah.
the other key rule was, of course, you cannot
Can't-
keep
you
track.
can't keep
If
track.
you know
That
how many
seems
comedy
crucial
points
to
you
me.
have.
That seems very crucial. to me.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
the whole thing falls.
No, yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Now, later we got into the point of being able to tax people comedy points for a bad bit. But that was
Yes.
always very hotly contested.
Yeah, because then where are they going?
Right.
That's what taxing is you're collecting it
Right.
somewhere.
Right. But then it became like you couldn't subtract comedy points, but you could give someone negative comedy points.
It was something like that.
So did you know that on cable television he was given comedy points?
I
you aware
heard
of
of
that?
Fox News
You
of all
told me about
places.
this, and it
Fox
made
News.
me so happy.
And it was my fault. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that
Yeah.
I was,
It's like-
interfering in Mount Pointsmore or whatever.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It was
He-
incredible.
He gave you too many, though.
How many
He
did
gave
he
me
give
5.
you?
Oh, he gave you.
I think he gave me 5, and he's not Pat.
I think I told him to give you 10, but I may have just. I'm gonna check.
Maybe he gave me 10.
I'm gonna check my DMs
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, slide into those DMs.
I'm gonna slide into the
Yeah.
DMs with Andy Levy.
The other, I mean, there was always also this gray area about whether
I said 10. If he gave you
Okay.
less, then he was really fucking.
Then
with
you didn't do a
I didn't
joke.
deserve more, honestly.
Yeah.
There was also the thing with comedy points about whether you could dap someone some points. Because the thing was always a comedy point would happen with a handshake.
I mean, we made rules, and they were all meant to be broken.
Right. But it was always the handshake was the transfer of the comedy points, and then the dapping was sort of equivalent to a credit card.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to reach out the hand, you could dap someone some points for later.
I just pray to God that we don't speak of this anymore. I just pray to Almighty God.
I have a question.
Who's this?
Oh my God.
Hey.
Wait a second. Hold on.
It's Ben. Hi.
It's Ben? Hi?
Yeah.
Ben Hosley?
Yeah. Hey.
Producer Ben?
That's right.
The
It's-
Ben Deucer?
Yeah.
Mr.
Well,
Positive? The
Yeah.
Poet Laureate?
I was gonna.
The Fuckmaster?
I just
Birthday
thought
Benny?
The
tiebreaker?
Yeah.
You're not Professor Crispy, right?
White Hot Benny?
No. I'm
You
not.
are White Hot Benny, though?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sure. That's
Wait
a
a
new
second.
one.
And how do we say hi to you?
Well, we greet you with
What
a
would
hello
be a
fennel.
salutation? Yeah.
A hearty hello fennel. Are you our finest film critic?
You guys seem to think so. I mean, sure.
No, I've heard a rumor.
Yeah.
I need to run this by you if you can confirm or deny that you have graduated to certain titles as a result of different miniseries.
Okay. Yeah. I can do that.
That is true.
No. Yeah. It's
Okay,
true,
so
and
let
I
me-
can do it.
Let me run a
I'm
couple
gonna
by you and
murder
see if
you.
they're real.
Okay.
Producer Ben Canove?
Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
That's because that's based around we did
Oh,
Star
no.
Wars.
Guys,
Kylo Ben.
miniseries.
Don't drag this out.
Right, and that's the new Star Wars
Ben Night
movie.
Shyamalan?
Yeah, because we did something about M. Night Shyamalan.
Ben Sate?
Right, and that's the Wachowski series.
Right. Benny Lane or Say Bennything?
We should settle this.
Benny Lane is out. Say Bennything.
Say
say
Bennything.
Bennything.
Wait, it's happening?
I think let's
do it.
fucking do
Breaking
it.
news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Shit.
Yeah.
You know what?
But
We ignored the fans before. We could do it
We
again.
can't acknowledge this on the Abyss podcast, which we are going to record tomorrow.
Okay, good.
We can't do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I will
The
leave that
surprises
in.
for this podcast.
So when you listen to this podcast, then go back and listen to the Abyss episode and be
we're-
blown away by the quality of our
Oh,
performances.
God, what crisp acting.
Because we're going to act. Hey,
Mhm.
you sound like you're fishing to be Professor Crispy. With a line like that. Say Bennything. Hey, so Ben Hosley.
Yeah.
He's here. I
Hello.
guess we need to think of a Cameron name for him soon.
I already forgot the
Yeah,
point
you
I
had a
was gonna
question.
say.
Oh, yeah, right.
What was your question?
How do you feel about Chris Hardwick sort of
Points!
Yeah, moving
We
in
were
into that
before that.
real
We were
estate.
100%
before
we were
that.
before that.
100%.
I'm not going to say he stole it from us
Right.
because I have no evidence of that, and it's almost impossible that that is true.
Yeah.
But we did come up with this concept before
Well,
him.
but you didn't come up with the concept of points. Like,
No, just
much
saying
more
the word
basic-
points.
Because he's not giving comedy points.
Which
he's
I
giving
hate.
points.
And
but he's
here's the
giving
thing.
points for comedy.
Right.
Sure,
That's the
whatever.
gray area.
No, it's not a gray area. It's very different. It's very different.
I just think that specificity is
All
the
right,
key of all
here's
great
what I'm-
comedy.
Here's what I'm mad about.
Okay.
The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore was canceled, which
Yes.
was sad.
Bullshit.
I was a big
Yeah.
fan of that show.
They did not keep it 100.
Comedy Central did
Two
not
comedy
keep
points.
100. But that means for a while, Comedy Central moved at midnight to the 11:30 slot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck
What?
that.
Why call
At
it
midnight.
Why call it at midnight?
It's
Why,
in the name.
Why shackle yourself to that?
I know that was actually a weird choice. that
Really
they made.
dumb.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
They should have just called it at night.
there was that thing before.
Huh?
Yes.
Shorter.
Yes. When Colbert left
Brevity.
before the Nightly Show happened, they were talking about moving it to 11:30, and they were like, "But we can't do that. It's at midnight."
Also, the fact that it was called the Nightly Show was weird. I mean, it was going to be
Yeah.
called the Minority Report, and then they just were going to get sued by
They got
Fox
scared,
or whatever.
yeah.
Right.
But I don't like that there's a daily show immediately followed by a nightly show that
Yeah.
feels weird. If it was 11:30 a.m. and then noon,
Yeah.
maybe you could convince me.
Some other time, some other forum, we're gonna have to discuss in length. Like there will be an epic tome written someday about how badly Comedy Central managed replacing the Daily Show.
Yeah, that's true.
They
There'll
let-
be like a
yeah.
Bill Carter-esque,
Yeah.
late shift-esque book.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Great. Hey, Treat Williams, we talked about him
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. Oh, you haven't probably listened. You told me where you're at in the
I'm
pod.
not say anything.
I don't think
Okay.
you got to our discussion of Treat Williams' performance of Michael Ovitz
Yeah.
in the movie The Late Shift.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think they should do the second book and have someone play Conan. Like, who would play Conan?
Well, the joke's Tilda Swinton. The real answer is
Yeah.
probably height's important. Vince Vaughn.
Oh,
No,
come on.
too
I'm
fast.
trying to
This
think of
one is
guys.
twice the
I'm
mass
trying to think of guys who
Conan.
are over 6 feet tall.
That and okay.
You
look,
could trick that a little.
You know who's over 6
I got a
feet?
good answer.
Okay.
Zach Woods.
Oh, he might be good.
that
He
is
might be good.
Right?
Yeah.
Zach
I mean,
Woods.
you got to get
Yeah.
the coloring, the
Yeah.
hair, but
Yeah,
like,
He's
but
got the
that's all. You can do that in
paleness,
post.
and I think he's got a similar energy and lankiness. He could be
Just
really
put a
good.
green skull cap on him
Yes.
and digitize that hair.
you know who else is
Yes.
over 6
Yes.
feet tall?
Yes.
You know who else is over 6 feet tall?
Pierce Finley.
True. Yes. Congratulations on the ticket.
Oh, I think I know.
That's great news. by the
Oh,
way,
I know where
Griffin.
this is going.
I know where this is going.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
star of Terminator
Yeah.
2, Judgment Day.
Great.
Can I tell you where I thought this was going?
Where'd you think it was going?
David L. Sims.
I am over 6 feet tall. This is true. In fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger's height. Who wants to hazard a guess?
I think he's only like 6'2".
Yeah, I think he's. I don't think he's super tall. 6'1".
Bingo, 6'2".
Hey.
He's listed at 6'2". I am 6'3". I am taller than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You could beat him in a
Dwayne
fight.
Johnson, 6'4", which is for some reason comes up when I Google his height. Also told me Dwayne Johnson.
I'd say he's the modern replacement.
Yeah.
He is, but it's not.
It's very different.
It's different,
It's a sign
but-
of how culture has changed.
Yeah.
you
But
know?
he is
He's a
he
big
is filling
star.
that
Yeah.
slot that Schwarzenegger used to fill.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
And I feel like when 2000-ish rolled around, people started asking that question, like, who's the next Arnie? And the answer was like, well, there's not really going to be a next Arnie.
Yeah.
But there's going to be people like him.
Arnie
like,
was a time and a place thing, and I think you look at like how much more like Dwayne Johnson has to do
Yeah.
to equal the sort of cultural impact of
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, where it was like Schwarzenegger would have a movie like every other year, and it was a fucking event.
In fact, I'm
Run
going to
through?
talk to you about. So we talked.
Schwarzenegger never would have done Ballers. Is the big point.
Probably not.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's weird that he does Ballers.
It's
even
really
even
weird
in
that he
this
does Ballers.
day and age of, TV everywhere and
Yeah.
people doing all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
It's odd that he does Ballers.
Yeah.
Which is a creepy show.
Really creepy.
Well, it's like Entourage, but football, right?
But
I've never
it's
seen an episode.
Toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
defined. At least in Entourage, they were making fun of the. Entourage is pretty indefensible.
It's like HBO had a meeting with their executives and went like, could we come up with a version of Entourage that Griffin would like even less? And they were like, sports.
yeah, it's very
Sports.
true.
That's the only thing we had him on board with. Yeah.
This men's
Okay.
rights thing is really taken off. What do you think, guys?
It's great. This is great. I'm so glad we had Rachel on the Terminator episode to slap us down once in a while. All right.
We got some good slapping going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you. We talked about the Terminator on this podcast, on this
Yes.
pod. You might. Call it.
I did skip ahead and listen to that episode.
Oh, fair
So I
enough.
could
Just to get some
compare-
context.
And you
Yeah.
rewatched the
And I
Terminator.
rewatched
Yeah.
1 and 2 in preparation for this.
Fair call.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you like Terminator 1? Good movie.
I like Terminator
Yeah,
1.
it's a good
I
movie.
think that it is. Griff and I were talking a little bit before. It's very much a product of the 80s.
Sure.
And it feels like an 80s sci-fi horror. It feels like a very
It
good
does.
one.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
But it feels a little.
Yeah.
And it feels small.
Yeah.
Like when you watch
feels small.
T2 is huge.
It's very
Yeah.
big.
It feels fucking big.
And here's the thing, even
And
when
I like it.
I was
Eh,
waiting.
Ben
I was
likes it
waiting
big.
for Ben.
Ben likes it
was
big.
Well,
waiting
my
for
other
Ben.
question is, are you guys doing T2 3D the ride?
No,
we
you can't watch it.
Yeah, I
It's like there's
Yeah.
versions on YouTube, but they are completely inscrutable.
Because I just want to tell Ben, I don't know, Ben, have you ever seen T2 3D the ride?
Voyage Across Time.
No.
It features
Battle Across Time.
It's fuck.
it features
Yeah.
the T1 million,
Yeah, which is stupid.
which is a huge.
That's a lot of numbers.
I know.
Stupid. It's fucking stupid.
Well, Robert Patrick plays the T1000.
Yeah.
Nice.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's the T101.
No,
right?
he's the 800.
800.
The not to get too nerdy.
Terminator,
weird,
the
'cause
first
Terminator
one
version
the
is the
100.
T101.
That's the 100,
I
okay.
believe it's
Yeah.
101.
Okay.
I believe
101.
I can't
Yeah.
remember for.
And
I
then
can look that up
in
now.
2, he's the T800.
He's a slightly better version, which I
Got
guess
it.
is just designed to explain why he doesn't look like a wax mold when he
Yeah.
you know
Right.
takes his eye out or whatever. I don't know.
And then Terminator 3, he's the T850, which is that upgrade where they just added like 15 years.
And what is she?
yeah.
And what is she?
The TX.
Oh, she's a
She's
TX.
the T1000.
No, because
Oh,
Robert
right,
Patrick's
right.
the
She's
T1000.
the TX. She's the TX.
Okay.
They
It
don't
makes
say
no
what it's
sense. I don't want to talk about anything past
I'm
that.
sorry, I have to get this right because it's actually crazy.
Okay.
He is model 101, and I assume that refers to the Arnold skin.
Right.
Is the model 101.
Okay.
He is in Terminator 2 800.
Right.
He's a T800
Mhm.
model 101 version 2.4, but let's not. I don't think they say that in a.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna look up what he is in the Terminator, the original Terminator. I'm on the Terminator wiki.
Yeah, sure.
But
Yeah.
the grander point
Yeah.
is that the T1 million in the ride is like the biggest. He's like a huge spider.
He's a metal spider, Ben.
Yeah, and it's huge. That's the
It's
whole point.
humongous.
It's like it's like the biggest
In
Terminator
3D.
That's, a
Is
spider.
it still playing?
No,
At Orlando, I think it maybe is. It's
Really?
done in Hollywood.
I think it's done in both.
Because I went to Hollywood recently and was so excited to ride it and had been replaced by... I erroneously said it had been replaced by Shrek 4D, which I will say,
I
as
think
I
it's-
said before, is a shitty movie. It was actually replaced by the Minions ride.
I think it's been replaced by the Minions in
Guys,
both.
we've talked about this already on the podcast, and it
It's just-
doesn't
it's great.
matter.
It's the second best Terminator film,
Okay,
in my opinion.
okay. So
Interesting.
just
I love it.
I think it's better than T1.
The problem, the YouTube videos that are available are literally someone filming the
Yeah,
screen,
and
so
it
it's the
looks like
blurry
nothing.
3D
Yeah,
thing.
I mean,
and also part of that thing is the real like stunt people on stage interacting with the movie, so you like can't fucking watch it.
also the thing where you're waiting to go in and they
So
play
good.
that movie with Shaq,
Right.
which is
So,
amazing.
I guess we'll just have to go to Universal Studios.
The boys are going to Universal.
You guys
I'd
should.
do it.
All right.
Okay, so
Terminator
he's a
2.
T800 in both, but
Yeah.
the model is 101. Let's never speak of this again. All right. So Arnold Schwarzenegger in '84, him and Jimmy C. They
Yeah.
make Terminator, does well.
Great movie.
Jimmy C. goes on and makes Aliens,
Huge.
big hit.
Huge.
He makes The Abyss. Oh no, no.
Doesn't do well.
Doesn't do well. I think most people who worked on that show actively spoke of wanting to murder him for making him. I mean, worked on that movie.
It
I
was
said show.
Well, hey,
Ed Harris
that's Hollywood
literally,
lingo.
Ed Harris literally said, "I will never talk about that movie again." Like it was like a
It's not
fucking
bad.
internment
It's
camp.
watchable.
No, I mean the experience making.
Oh,
it.
the experience.
They
It was-
basically
it was-
drowned the cast.
It was notably like one of the tensest,
I'm
sort
sure.
of productions.
Well, they're in
history.
water the whole time.
Yeah.
They're in water the whole time.
And it was like uncharted technology, and
Yeah.
he was drowning everybody.
He was drowning
and
everybody.
you have like famous hothead Ed Harris, like well known as like one of the most like irascible actors around, in a room like underwater with James Cameron, who demands like excellence from everybody.
His head's so hot he burned all his hair off.
Oh,
It's gone.
3 comedy points.
All right.
That undeserving.
I just want you to know that we're shaking hands when we're doing
I
because
know,
we're
it's
going by
weird.
the old
This is
official
classic
system.
rules.
Oh, I
Classic
see.
rule.
But what if someone's driving? If these are, do you have to like reach over? And,
Well, that's when you would dap it if you couldn't transfer a
all right.
handshake.
I don't know
at
why
the
I brought
time.
this up. I don't know why I wanted to talk
Would
about
be
it.
a dap.
We talked about the abyss.
Okay.
We talked about the abyss.
Yeah.
But so Arnie, so Jimmy C, I feel like he's a little bit of he's at the lowest he ever gets in his career.
Yeah,
pretty much.
That was
At
his
this-
only like sort of misstep.
So it makes a lot of sense that he's like, let me go back to the juice.
Go back to
right?
safe territory.
T2, right?
Go back to the juice.
Even though we'll talk about that in a second. He got like so much money for this movie, and it was a risk in and of itself. But Arnie,
Yeah.
Commando,
Right.
he plays John Matrix.
Right. That
Right,
happens
which
the
is-
year after
That's
Terminator 1?
85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
I
is
just-
a really good movie.
That
Yeah.
is that the one where he kills someone with a pipe and says blow off some steam?
I think so,
I
yes.
believe so. I believe you're correct.
John
Yeah.
Matrix is my favorite Arnie name. They gave him these names that are like so American. It's like, who the fuck would ever be called John Matrix?
Well, that's the thing. That's the
Of the Winchester Matrixes. Like, imagine that being Ellis Island. Wachowski, what do you want to change your name to? Matrix.
And like also, yeah, it's 85. Those are the days when he's really pushing like the boundaries of his
Yeah.
speech.
Yeah.
Like all right,
Yeah.
he makes Raw Deal.
What's Raw Deal?
It's they remade it recently. It's like a bunch of I don't fucking know.
You're giving up.
No, I'm convinced. Oh, sorry, I was confusing it with Red Dawn.
Oh.
Raw Deal is like they gave him a raw deal and now he's gonna give it back to him. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. You know.
sounds great.
He's
That's
like,
amazing.
He's like an informant or something.
Okay.
And like the FBI fucks him over, so then he has to like kill a bunch of mafia people.
Okay.
I haven't. If I've seen it, I don't remember it.
Okay, so that's 86?
That's 86.
87,
Predator,
Predator.
where he plays Alan Dutch Schaefer.
Yeah.
Again.
Because,
Love it.
a guy with an Austrian accent, you call him Dutch.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not
Get to the
confusing.
chopper, all that stuff.
Right.
Predator, it's a fucking masterpiece.
Fucking rules.
Great
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Really great movie.
Yeah.
2 future governors are in that movie.
Yes, Jesse Ventura's in that movie.
Yeah.
It's the only movie to feature 2 actors who went on to be governors.
Is that
There you
true?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good stat.
Also, The Running Man in 87,
Okay.
which is a cool movie,
And
although it was not as big a hit.
Directed by Starsky, I believe, of Starsky and Hutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paul Michael Glaser.
Yeah.
All right, and then Red Heat in 88, the comedy with Belushi.
Finally, our 2 titans of cinema at the
Yeah.
point. They went, let's get
Yeah, so
Schwartz
88
and the
is
Belushi.
a funny year.
Yeah.
Because Twins is 88. And
Yeah.
Twins is a huge hit.
He's getting a little funny that
But
year.
I think within those movies,
Like, people forget, Twins made $215 million.
Oh, it was humongous.
in 1988.
Yeah.
It was colossal.
Yeah.
and I think like within these movies you're talking about, he is figuring out more and more how to be a leading man.
Very much. He's
And
the auteur of these movies.
Yeah, and how to do comedy effectively, because in Terminator 2, he's a really funny
fucking funny.
character.
He's so funny.
It's such a funny movie.
Well, we're almost there.
Well,
Sorry.
the key
No,
to
no, it's
Schwarzenegger
fine.
is that he, over the course of these films, in between Terminator 1 and
And,
Terminator
like, Twins
2...
is his idea.
Right.
Like, very much.
Oh, why do you feel me and David?
Yeah, no, really.
it's a great idea.
It
is.
Yeah.
It's limited.
Yeah. I mean, like,
The
today...
movie is not good.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If
The
he-
movie's so high concept that
Yes.
it's insane.
If he pitched that movie today, they'd be like, that's a great Funny or Die short.
Aren't they making triplets?
They
No,
claim.
they are not making
Oh, I
triplets.
hope they make
They
triplets.
claim.
Eddie Murphy, who has like delivered one joke in the last 5 years, like Eddie, what happened to him?
We should do a whole Eddie Murphy
Oh
miniseries.
God, it would be great.
I mean, you know I'm...
The
like,
Distinguished
fascinated
Podcast?
by-
Sorry, that's a reference to one of the most obscure Eddie Murphy comedies.
Josh Gad wrote
He's a comedy
triplets.
legend.
They hired Josh Gad, comedy legend, to write
They were like,
triplets.
how do we beat Twins, a legendary comedy movie? Get a comedy legend in here, Josh Gad.
Well, they went, we should get a comedian to do this, and they went to Billy Crystal first, and he passed. They went, who's the other one? Josh Gad. There are only
Billy
2
Crystal
comedians.
pass? Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Billy Crystal passed on writing triplets.
Oh, so they just went to the other comedian?
That's the joke I was
show
making.
The comedians.
That's the
I
joke
see.
I was
thought you were being
making.
serious. I was like, I could see them running on triplets by Billy Crystal.
That's crisp acting. Sold my joke.
Yeah, very crisp.
Yeah.
From now on, we can only describe good acting as crisp.
Crisp.
That's crisp.
Linda Hamilton's really fucking crispy in this movie.
very
Don't
crispy.
even want to
Yeah.
talk about it.
All right.
What I was going to say is, in
sure.
this period of time between Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Twins is a great example of this,
Mhm.
he becomes like, whereas some people you see them develop their skills as an actor, like someone like Channing Tatum, who had charisma
Sure.
and a look before he really developed like serious chops.
Yeah.
You see him getting better and better, more sort of lived in and specific as an actor, right? Schwarzenegger in this period of time between when he becomes a movie star, sort of like a leading man and then becomes like a monolith kind of thing, he just becomes like starts obsessively studying how he plays on camera.
Yeah.
Just becomes so hyper aware of everything he's putting out there, everything innate to his vibe, his appearance, his voice, how people perceive him. And he just becomes like, this is like a piece of machinery that I know how to operate perfectly.
Sure.
I'm Schwarzenegger.
Literally.
This is my vehicle,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I finish
Yes.
his career?
Yes.
1990.
Yeah.
My favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie,
Oh.
aside from this one.
Total
maybe.
Recall?
Total Recall.
Yeah.
With
Total
Paul
Recall's great.
Verhoeven.
Yeah.
That movie is fucking out of its mind. It's great. Love that movie. Also, Kindergarten Cop
Just
Right.
great.
with Reitman.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's bad. But it's a big
I love Kindergarten Cop.
hit. Oh, piece of shit.
I love it.
But that's interesting that he's now done two.
Kindergarten Cop also makes like $200 million.
Right.
That movie opens with Arnold Schwarzenegger killing a bunch of drug dealers with a shotgun.
Correct.
And
It is
then
1990.
it's about him befriending a group of kindergartners.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not a tumor.
It is not a tumor. They
No.
did prove that. That is the second time he does one of these weird, like Spielberg type years where he shows two sides in one
Sure.
year.
Yeah, very
you have,
Spielberg.
like-
So you're saying Kindergarten Cop is the Schindler's List in this?
Yes, I'm saying you do the thing where you do like Spielberg would always do the 2-for-1 where he'd do like highbrow, lowbrow in one year.
Schindler, it's oh my god, I'm
Schindler's
freaking out. Kindergarten Cop is the Amistad, and
Yes, and
Total Recall
yes,
is the Lost
that's
World.
Yeah.
that's the joke I'm making.
Mhm. You don't like that I'm explaining your jokes.
What's kind of the antithesis of comedy points? The whole point is
I'm not looking for comedy points.
hand
I'm a
out the
rebel. I'm a
points.
renegade.
and you move on.
I'm regarded by everyone, I think, in the world of podcasting, in the community of podcasting, as a notorious renegade.
That is true, and I cannot contest that. You are known as the bad boy of podcasting.
It's very true. I'm the bad boy of podcasting. So
I just think it's interesting that twice he's like,
Sure,
I'm
right.
going to give
Let
you
me
a
give you the-
classic
yeah.
Schwarzenegger and give you a laugher.
Yeah.
I'm going to like
give
play.
you some cheese, but
Yeah.
some sausage.
I'm going to play the hits and make fun of myself.
Sure.
So you know, like he's so self-aware.
I would say, and I think what Sam's pointing out right here is sort of what I'm about. I think we agree, even though we disagree.
You're looking at each other. You're both.
I think
getting
we're
ready to
making
say
the same
something.
Twins is great fun. Kindergarten Cop, like the incongruity of like he's a cop who shoots drug dealers and like whimsical interacting
Yeah,
with
it's
children. It doesn't land for me.
Okay.
That movie is kind of odd.
Well, for me, I think that these movies, and probably especially Kindergarten Cop, also gave him this appeal to families. He
Sure,
started
and
to
he's
become,
very,
like,
he's very
big
conscious
with
of it.
This is
families, and that
humongous.
changed his career.
We
100%.
are little boys. Now you guys are probably very little.
Well, I'm actually in between your two ages.
I see.
So, and also because this movie Terminator 2 was really big. The reason I love it is because I watched it as a kid so many times. It was huge with my family.
It's weirdly like the most kid-friendly R-rated film ever made.
Is it R-rated?
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
it's
very
very
interesting.
R-rated,
But it like
yeah.
always was like from the moment it came out, it had like fucking bubble gum and like
Yeah.
action figures and video
Yeah,
games. It was R-rated.
A gambit that worked, I think,
Yeah.
which is like we're just gonna promote and sort of release this film as if it's like a big blockbuster.
This is a movie
even though
for
it's
kids
R-rated.
with cool parents.
Well, I was also-
It
Yeah.
held all those R rating records for like a
Forever.
decade before
Yeah.
Scary Movie came along and knocked them all down.
And then now it's Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ has a lot of them. Deadpool
Really?
got a lot of the new
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Well, also, because watching this movie reminded me of this. I used to watch this a lot with my family, and there were two scenes that my mother always covered my eyes during, because I was the youngest member
Sure.
of my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was the one who snuck underneath. And the two of them that I didn't see until I was a teenager were Sarah Connor burning to death in her dream,
Which is fucked up.
which is a serious scene,
Not something you want your kid to see.
and Arnold Schwarzenegger ripping the skin off his arm.
Oh, awesome. I fucking
And
love that.
It's great, but
All right.
I didn't see it till I was 16 years old.
Here's what I thought you were gonna say instead of the ripping the skin off, although that's also very nightmarish. Is the blade through the mouth?
Oh yeah, no,
which
for
is
some
pretty
reason,
brutal,
yeah.
and the pokey eye.
Pokey eye
Yeah.
is intense.
Those are intense.
but
yeah.
the pokey eye is kind of quick.
It is.
But then
the thing through the mouth is gross.
Here's the thing about the pokey eye, though. It's quick in terms of what you see that's graphic.
Yeah.
But they also cut to this angle where you see him kind of fishing around,
and he's sort of like
and the sounds
dancing
are
and
happening.
twitching.
Like it's not like a lot of viscera, but like you're seeing.
It's fucking
the
weird.
thing
You're
play
seeing a
out.
guy's brain get like mangled.
How
It's
good are
cool.
those twins though?
Oh, love them. Great job, twins.
Those guys, so they were like the go-to guys if you needed like two of something.
Right.
And Joe Dante used them all the time. And they're in Looney Tunes Back in Action, which I think is an underrated masterpiece, playing the Warner Brothers.
Mhm.
And they're
Really?
fucking great in it.
Hey, now speaking of twins, is it true that Linda Hamilton has a
She does.
identical twin?
She does,
Correct.
and she did a little bit of work in this movie.
We'll
Yeah.
get to that scene because it's
There's
fucking
is she
oh, that
the-
mirror
She's
scene
the
is so
mirror.
cool.
All right, but anyway, just to
Sorry,
finish
sorry.
my little
Yeah.
treatise on Arnie, what's interesting is this movie hits, and it's the biggest fucking thing that ever happened.
humongous.
And it just confirms his status as like king.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he never makes a hit movie ever again. Basically,
Really?
he makes movies that do fine.
No film lands
Oh no,
with the
I'm
same
sorry, I'm forgetting True Lies. True Lies is a huge hit. So
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
So
Yeah,
wait,
but
did he
he's-
never make a number? He made number ones.
No, True Lies is a total number one. I totally forgot about True Lies, but I'm just thinking of like
Yeah.
it goes like Last Action Hero, Junior,
Huh.
Eraser, Jingle All the Way, Batman and Robin. Like
Yeah,
these
wow.
movies that are
Wow.
bad,
Yeah.
they do okay. Maybe I mean Last Action Hero is like a real bomb, but you know.
He doesn't have an unqualified smash again. Like
No.
it does well,
apart
but
from
it's
True
like
Lies,
hated.
apart from True Lies,
Yeah,
Well,
but
but even-
Batman and Robin made money, but was despised.
Yeah.
it made like $100 million, which was like pretty bad. But
And I'll
yes.
say this about True Lies too, like
True Lies too. Oh my god, advisory.
Like I don't want to start rumors. I'll say this about True Lies as well. Very successful, well liked. Didn't have the same level of cultural impact
Mm-mm.
as Terminator 2, especially coming off of
No.
like this is the next Cameron Schwarzenegger thing.
That is true. And by the very high bar of Terminator 2, it maybe doesn't clear it. But apart from that, it's
and
a
was
huge,
also
huge hit.
Well, and was a very profitable movie, but was far and away the most expensive movie ever made at that time.
Very expensive.
So it was less profitable than Terminator 2 was because it like made less and
But
cost more.
But we're
Huge
not.
success.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
public.
Yeah, that's
acknowledgement,
a
not money.
very minor asterisk on the film.
But yeah, it is just interesting. Like even though I feel like we grew up in the '90s, like Arnie was such a
Huge.
like ever-present figure in the '90s.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually make a lot of big movies after T2 that work. He makes a lot of big,
Because like Eraser
movies.
was a big disappointment. Batman
It
and Robin
made money.
was
like Eraser. Eraser feels like one of his '80s movies, but it
So
costs
does, like-
a ton.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I remember when Eraser was coming out, people being like, "This is him getting back in the zone." Like Eraser had a lot of hype because it was like, "This is him doing a more
Yeah.
serious-minded, like adult action movie," and then it like did all right.
It's that also like Collateral Damage, which was like a little later.
Well, that's what we get in the 2000s. You have
Yeah.
like the 6 Day, Collateral Damage.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean,
What's the hell one? End of Days.
Yeah.
if you want me to keep going, Jingle All the Way, Batman and Robin, End of Days, which is the hell one, Gabriel Byrne.
Right.
You got the 6th Day with clones. You got Dr.
And Bob Duvall's in that too, right?
Yeah, Bobby D.
I think Bobby D's cloning him.
I almost gave him Dr. Dolittle too, but that's an uncredited voice role. Sorry.
Oh,
Collateral Damage. Then Terminator 3, where he's trying like, oh, come on,
Yeah.
let's
Going
cook this
back to
back
the-
up.
yeah.
And then he runs for governor, and that's it.
I'm sorry, you're forgetting Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah, I am not forgetting it, but I don't want to speak
Where he
about
plays a very horny
it.
king.
He does.
That is fascinating. I didn't
And then-
realize, yeah.
Yeah, and then he basically doesn't come back until The Last Stand. I
Right.
mean, he's in the Expendables movies for like a second, but
Yeah.
that's just that's him like being like, I'm not the governor anymore. Let me make some movies. Like,
Yeah, and
and
what's-
now he's making all kinds of weird movies.
But
He
that's
doesn't
what's
give a
weird
shit.
is when he comes back, you go like, okay, there's an opportunity here for him to have like a huge comeback and do something with a lot of
Doesn't
force,
happen.
and he just does like a $20 million Lionsgate movie. Like
Yeah.
he just comes back and does some programmers.
What's the
Yeah.
movie where he plays a DEA agent with Joe Mangoli?
Sabotage.
I like Sabotage.
That movie is out of its mind.
I think
I haven't
Sabotage
seen
is
it.
good though.
Yeah, from the director of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I
and
think
then
it's
he
pretty
did a
good.
zombie movie called Maggie. That's
Right,
like
which is like a
okay.
drama, yeah.
It's not that good, but he's pretty good in
Yeah.
it. He did Terminator Genesis, which was a nightmare.
Escape
and we-
Plan with Stallone.
It's Escape Plan with Stallone, which like barely got released.
Right.
Escape Plan's
He's
bad.
making something
Escape
now
Plan.
called
I like
Why We're Killing Gunther,
Which
that's
is Taron
directed,
Killam's
written
movie.
and directed by Taron Killam.
Which is
So
why
it's
he
gonna
left
be a
SNL.
huge hit.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like,
it
that's-
might be good.
Who knows?
but it's not gonna be a
I don't
hit.
know.
I don't know.
It might be good, but
It's
it's not gonna
just-
be a hit.
It's just interesting to me that Arnie's, this is kind of it for Arnie.
That's
Save
that's
for
real. I
T2.
didn't. I
This
didn't
is
realize
where he
that.
starts to lean towards parody.
That's fascinating. I mean, yeah, you're right. He never he has films that make a cultural impact, and he has films that are successful. But this was his peak. I mean, it's all downhill from Terminator 2, and he doesn't even really coast. I mean, you go like Terminator 2, you can like
it takes a
say
2-year
like,
break.
Right, True Lies is like lateral, you know, and then it's like down.
Yeah, it's really
That's
quickly
fascinating.
down.
That is fascinating.
So, but Jimmy C.
Yes.
You know, The Abyss cost a lot of money and didn't make much money and was a nightmare to make. And I feel like, you know, these are all bad things to happen to a director.
Right.
You don't want to get this reputation as like, oh, God, it's just it's torturous.
And it was like a borderline Heaven's Gate type of thing where there was a lot of press about how poorly it was going. It got the Oscar for visual effects. Everyone was like, well, that part definitely worked.
Sure, CGI tentacles.
You know, everyone was like, that worked. The rest of the movie, yeah. And then years later, it kind of was sort of, you know, reevaluated. I mean, it has its, you know, supporters certainly.
It does. And he's obviously tinkered with it.
The director's
over and
cut,
over,
like,
he's
definitely
added,
helped
you know, like
the reputation.
The movie basically came out without an ending, and he then tried to fix that.
Right.
But anyway, we will have gotten to that. Sorry. Yeah. The Terminator 2, though. So the Terminator came out, and then the company that owned it like went bankrupt, and like so the rights to a sequel were like always like hard to figure out anyway. I think
which
that was
is this fascinating thing about the Terminator franchise is it's like the village bicycle. Like
Well,
it's this
the
thing.
rights are like a mummy's curse.
It really is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Remember that moment where Joss Whedon, when like the rights were up for grabs,
And he wanted to
Yeah.
buy it.
he was like, "I'll buy it. I'll do something cool. I don't know. Just let me have it."
One
Like,
could
you
have
know,
been.
And that was 2 years before the Avengers. Everyone's like, yeah, but no one would let Joss Whedon take over like a big franchise.
Right.
I remember that being the sentiment. Like, it's like he's a TV guy. They're not going to let him do like big Hollywood
It's
franchises.
true. Yeah.
And instead, they made Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
Eventually, like somebody bought the rights, and
It was
I
from
think that
that
was
auction.
Salvation. I think that
It's
it was
David Ellison wrote it, right? I bought him. It's Meg Ellison.
Yeah, the Annapurna. Yeah.
Right, bought the rights, and it was like, oh, that's weird. She's like a highbrow, like art house woman. It was like, oh, she's gonna get this big franchise to sort of bankroll her like passion
Right.
project, and then she sold it off to her brother, David Ellison, who like has a lot less creative control and just sort of is like a fund for like Paramount Tom Cruise movies and stuff.
Well, all three movies that follow this one are completely differently toned disasters.
This is true.
Like each of them try
Yeah.
to take a new direction.
Mhm.
Each choice is terrible, and all those movies are
yeah,
bad.
like T3's trying.
I like T3. I've defended T3.
T3 is
I will
silly.
continue to.
T3 is so interesting
I'm a
at this
silly
point.
boy.
Now
Yeah.
you are a silly boy.
I'm
I
a
almost
silly
want
boy.
to talk about it, but
Well, I like Genesis more than most people do.
Okay, so we've gotten into this a lot. I can't stand Genesis.
Well, you and I watched
I like
Genesis
Genesis
together.
more than
yeah, we watched
he
it together.
does.
Yeah.
But an important thing about our watching Genesis was right before that.
Oh my
We-
God, David, you don't know this.
We tried to watch Mordecai.
We tried to watch Mordecai.
We're like,
oh,
Don't get angry at me
Oh,
for
I'm
trying to
not
watch Mordecai. without
It'll be
you.
fun to sit here and make fun of Mordecai. Mordecai is actually unwatchable.
Yeah.
Like,
Mordecai's,
how far did you get in?
we had to skip around, and even that was murderous.
10 minutes in, we were like, how much time is left in this movie? And we thought we were 45 minutes in.
It's
No,
terrible.
no joke, 10 minutes in, we thought we were halfway
We
through
gotta
the
watch
movie.
Mordecai.
It's
It's
so
settled.
Ugh.
We have to do it.
If
Sounds
you-
great.
If
We
you
were
can't
like-
get through,
yeah.
if you get through it, you guys deserve an award.
So
It's
honestly,
terrible.
it's like
Only
a
do
real,
it for an award.
It's a test. It definitely is a test. We were watching it on Hulu, and so like we were fast forwarding, you could sort of see the preview box image of like what we were
Yeah,
fast forwarding past,
yeah.
and we'd run across an image where I was like, "Wait, that looks crazy. We have to stop." And we'd stop, and it'd be like, "This part's gonna be fun to watch," and then it would be unwatchable. Like immediately, our brains would start like leaking out of our ears.
And then we watched Genesis, and I was like, this is great.
Sure. So you're saying maybe you were
It was
colored
maybe
by
tainted.
yeah.
But I think it's better than
Mordecai?
I think it's better than Mordecai. I think it's better than people give it credit
I
for.
think Genesis is worse than I remember it, and I didn't like it, but it did have Arnie in it, and I do like Arnie. He's in this film as well. The film we're talking about
talk about
today,
it.
Terminator 2,
Okay, can I just say one thing about Mordecai, and then I'm gonna get into Terminator 2.
Judgment Day.
One thing about Mordecai.
What?
You know how everyone was making fun of like the mustache thing in Mordecai because they were like, "This is so silly." The fucking mustache, the posters. As two people who have watched that movie in sort of like a flyby way, that movie is actually 90% mustache.
I'd
jokes.
say 70% of the dialogue involves his mustache in some way.
it's not even
at
that the
least.
mustache is like the MacGuffin of the movie. It's actually the plot driver.
Yeah, it kind of is what that movie's about.
Yeah, every scene is focused on his mustache. I've talked about how the way I saw Terminator 2 for the first time. David showed me a picture of Mordecai. This guy's such a rogue.
It always gets you. It always gets you. It always gets you.
He's on
so
the hood
bad.
of a car, but he's such a cat, David.
He looks alarmed. He looks
We
alarmed.
tried to watch that scene, and even that scene, I couldn't figure out what the fuck
That movie's
was going on.
only funny in stills.
They should have released it as a flip book. Mordecai should have been the first movie that went straight to Viewmaster Reel.
Should have been a coffee
All
table
right.
book.
Enough about Mordecai.
This is what I want to say
swear
about
to
Terminator
God.
2. This is what I want to say about Terminator 2. And
Oh,
now
you
we're
want
going
to
to
say
start
something about
talking.
Terminator 2?
I'd love to talk about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I don't know why you keep on derailing me. I would love to talk about Terminator 2 Judgment Day, okay?
Yeah.
I've talked about how the way I saw the movie for the first time was my dad got sent this DVD of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As,
and you
like-
talked about it.
Right.
You wanted to watch number 1 first, and then
Right.
you watched 2.
And so before I had convinced my mom to let me watch it, I'd have this DVD and I covered it. It was like 2 discs. Ooh, look at this. And there was a really thick booklet.
Sure.
You know, it had like a real kind of
got you.
thick liner notes
Mhm.
booklet that explained the whole
We got you.
production history and development of the film. That, was written by PR people. So it was like they were
I
making
wrote
it
it.
seem like it was the fucking 10 Commandments. You did write it.
I did
but you
write it,
were
yeah.
working PR for
That's right. Yeah,
Artisan Home Entertainment at the time.
Correct. Yeah. I was the one who told him to buy Blair Witch Project.
Which was a good call.
They didn't give me any.
They don't give you any credit for that.
Anyway, go on.
That was actually a really good call. They talked a lot in this booklet about how the thing was like the movie comes out, it's a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 7 years between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, it just grew and grew and grew. As Arnold got bigger with successive hits, people went back and watched that.
Sure, right. And,
And it
and
was
these are the days of
huge
it was
on
a
cable,
huge VHS,
huge on
hit.
VHS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the 80s. People wanted to
Right.
watch movies again.
So it become colossal. It become this big cultural.
Not Colossus, the metal man from X-Men.
It did not.
No.
And that's people get confused
They
on
do,
that
'cause
point
they're
a
both
lot.
metal men.
Yes, but let's settle
And
this
not
once and
Colossal,
for
the
all.
Anne Hathaway Godzilla movie that apparently everyone either loves or hates.
Yes, that is true. Everyone either loves or hates it.
All right, carry on. I'm sorry. I keep derailing you.
They
You're
said,
reading
like,
this booklet.
It
yeah.
became this thing where it was like everyone was like, he's got to make a Terminator 2. You
Yeah,
got to make
sure.
a Terminator 2. The point it ends at, Sarah Connor, you want to see what happens next, this and that. And so it got to this point, I think, especially after The Abyss, when he had a failure, where it was like, there's a demand, I should figure out how to make this.
Yeah.
But they say in this booklet that the question was, like, how do you do Terminator 2 now? The first Terminator is so violent, like
Sure,
so
sure.
unsparingly violent
It's true.
and dark, and now Arnold has become like a family guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he still makes your Commandos, your Predators, your violent films.
But even at that point, that was in the rear view from a couple
Total
years.
Recall is just a year before Terminator, and that movie is fucking insane. He shoots Sharon Stone to the head.
It's
And
insane.
he says, consider that a divorce.
It's insane. But here's the thing: Arnold does 2 things. Okay,
Yeah.
one is, he does a lot of family comedies that
He does
cut
some
the
family
intensity.
comedies, some fan coms. we
He's
call 'em.
deflating his own sort of balloon,
Of
right?
course,
A
yeah.
little bit, and letting people know, like, I mean, on the joke. And then the second thing that happens is he makes a hard move into sci-fi. And Terminator's a sci-fi film, but on an aesthetic level, for most of the movie, you're just looking at 2 guys in close shooting at each other.
Yeah.
But then you get to Total Recall, which is so
Very high
fantastical
sci-fi,
visually.
Mars, and
even
implanted
when, yes,
memories and all this nonsense.
It's an R-rated movie. It's a hard R, but when things are happening in that movie, they're so sort of ridiculous and big and outside of the realm of human possibilities, right? So the idea of just
what
having
a fucking wonderland you're describing. I love it.
the idea of having Arnold just shoot someone point blank,
Sure.
the way he does in Terminator 1,
Yeah.
or even would do in like Commando.
I get what you're saying.
So that was the question: is like, how do you make Terminator 2, knowing that America wants to love Arnold
Are you just going
Schwarzenegger
to end
now?
this with, so they decided to make him a good guy?
Fucking brilliant!
It is
brilliant.
It's
It is.
unbelievable.
I know. It seems so. I remember when I was a kid, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know if you know this, but like Hollywood's real cheesy. And
Yeah.
like, they couldn't let him be bad anymore. He had to be good. He had to be like the man. Like, no, it's a brilliant idea.
Well, what's incredible about it is
Fuck you, 11-year-old David.
on its face, it sounds like the worst studio note in the world.
It
Like,
does.
but
It does.
Could the bad guy be a good guy this time?
Arnie's real famous. I don't know.
And
And
he just like
I know.
it's like he weaponizes it into like the only story he could have told.
I'll go even a step further because this is something Elena, my
Mhm.
wonderful girlfriend, pointed out in that
Humble brag.
they also make this effort in Terminator 2, specifically when John Connor's like, I don't want you to kill people.
Yep.
That's such a big part in the fact
it's
that
huge.
the Terminator,
And
this
then
good
he
guy,
shoots people in the knees.
yeah, he
Yeah.
probably destroys
Which
people's
seems very
knees
painful.
Yeah.
and does like mess people up.
Yeah.
But is actually not trying to kill people.
Yeah.
He isn't. Linda Hamilton kills a lot of people in
Right.
this movie.
Which is what I love about this. She
Me
becomes
too.
she becomes the quasi villain, or
She
at least
really
the
is-
anti-hero.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's not a villain. No, it's
But she's
too
kind
far.
of the lead of this movie.
Yeah, yes. I mean, whatever. She and Arnie are
Yeah.
co-leads.
But yeah,
the
I
movie
think
kind of
that's-
passes up because she's not majorly involved after the Dyson attack.
Sure.
In the movie.
Yeah, he takes
After,
the reins
at that
in the last
point,
shot.
it's more his movie.
Um,
yeah, that's true.
I think it's a very good point, and I think the other thing they even do beyond that is you have the thing the first time he's like shooting at guys where John Connor's like, what the fuck? You can't do that. And he's like, I do what you tell me to do.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so not only are you having like another character be like the little guardian angel over his shoulder being like, don't do that, you're also establishing, which the first movie doesn't because it's just like, he's this unstoppable force.
Yeah.
This movie kind of sets it up that he's like a child.
Yeah, sure.
That he's a child who
learns.
doesn't know his own
He's
power.
learning.
Right, and so when he does something that's like kind of cool and like badass in like an action movie way, it's like, oh, he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
You know, and they can immediately
you.
like kind of scrub it out.
But no, that scene where he is about to execute that guy,
Yeah.
and it's like he's completely bored. He's just like cocking his gun and literally, it's great. I love that.
Is that you're talking about the scene where John Connor tells him not to?
Yeah.
I also think that scene, those are the characters I feel the most pity for in this movie.
No question.
Are those characters that go over to help a boy who they see being attacked
By a giant Austrian man in a leather jacket.
in a leather jacket.
and then the boy is like, well, fuck you guys.
yeah,
and
because
they're like,
kind of rude, I guess. So the boy's also got a bit of a toot.
yeah.
Oh, John
he's
Connor's
got
got
a
a
rude
rude
toot.
toot.
He's
He's
got
got
a
a
actually-
rude toot.
If we want to like really get into this, something I'm curious about from you two, do we think Edward Furlong is good in this movie?
This is, I mean, we could talk about this for
All right,
7 episodes.
I already got in a huge fight with Esther about it.
Yeah.
Esther Zuckerman, previous guest on the show, where she said Edward Furlong is bad in the movie, and I said, no, you are wrong. He is good. So I'm glad we've settled that. Great.
I think,
Thanks. I'm going to leave.
I think
He's great. Do you think he's great?
I think objectively it's not a great piece of acting. That having been said, I think it's...
Piece of acting. What is this? Fucking...
I don't think it's as crisp as it could be,
the
but I
Pulitzer
do think...
board over here.
I do think it's the perfect performance for the movie.
Exactly.
I think it's what the
perfectly
movie
modulated
needs.
to the
yeah.
movie.
I think the character fits the movie. I think he's a little... The screaming this viewing
Love it.
got to
Yeah.
me
Love
a
the screaming.
little bit.
Now, you guys know he redubbed the entire performance, right?
Yes.
Well, you can tell that in some
Yeah.
points.
Right.
You can see it. It's
He
in
had to
the
because his voice broke.
His
yeah.
voice broke, and they had to keep it at
Really?
one level because the production was so long, and he was like right in the midst of puberty. If you see his like, there are scenes like the dirt bike chase, he looks really young,
Yeah.
and then you get to other stuff like at different points in the movie where he looks like okay, puberty started to kick in. His face shape is like changing a little bit, and his voice was so all over the place that they had to redub it and be like, let's just pick one pitch, and that's what it is now.
I will definitely say it's the best John Connor performance in film.
No question.
Yeah, you don't like Nick Stahl?
I like him.
I think he's okay. I think
I
this
like
is a
him.
better performance. Nick Stahl's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I think he's actually quite good
Nick
in that
Stahl
movie,
feels like he's
but-
he's trying to sort of do Edward Furlong, you know, like he's trying to hug. The third movie feels like it's hugging the second movie more, and then of course,
Tightly.
you know, and then the other two obviously don't care at all.
Well, and here's the other
Jason
thing.
Clarke is kind of okay in Terminator Genesis, but it's just
yeah.
the character makes no sense, and then he turns
Right.
into like a nanobots or whatever, so it's all
I
bullshit.
think Jason Clarke's a wonderful actor, and
He's a
I don't
wonderful
think he's
actor.
ever given a bad performance. I think that character is so thankless.
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything with it. And in terms of, he's such a device in that movie, literally. But I also think that,
Boy.
I mean, this is the problem with all the other attempts to make Terminator sequels, is like the fact that Cameron flipped it and made him the good guy, and now it's 2 Terminators, and like now it's this, and it's the Judgment Day, sets it up so like these 2 movies are adiptic. Like they're mirrors of each other.
Which is great. And especially
Right?
those
Oh.
early scenes where he's like sort of mimicking his behavior from the first
Yeah.
movie, and you can get why she's so terrified of him.
Right.
And, you know.
But you can only mirror something one time. Like, it's not like, here's the next chapter. The movie is so much about its relationship to the first one.
Yeah.
In terms of flipping expectations and everything.
Right. At least in the first hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like, you can't really do a third. And then the other thing is, and this is certainly the Terminator Salvation problem, is, like, the future war is so cool because we barely see it.
Yeah.
You know? And John Connor is such a mythic figure because we never have to see someone be John Connor because he will never live up to the expectations of how the film speaks of him.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of, like, literally this guy's Jesus against the robots. He's the one person who can motivate everyone to do this.
Right.
And there's no performance that can live up to that. When you see the dude at the beginning of Terminator 2 with the
With the
scar on
scar?
his face, and you're like, that's all you need to see. It's just a guy who looks stoic,
That's probably
surrounded
the
by robots.
second best
That's
John
fine.
Connor performance.
Honestly.
But nonetheless,
I think Furlong works because he's so far away from being the John Connor we're talked about.
but I like the idea that there's like little hints of like even in this
Me
like
too.
rude toot kid, he's got a rude toot. The toot is rude.
But he's
Yeah,
so strong-minded.
which I'm
It's a
fine
rude
with.
toot.
It's a rude
But
toot.
he's so strong-minded. He's got like a innate morality that can't be like shaken
Uh-huh.
out of him,
Yes.
even by his like fucking psychotic mother and Xander Berkeley and
Right.
whatever crappy foster parents
Yeah.
and Public Enemy T-shirt that he
Yeah.
wears because he's so cool.
He's so cool.
I would also argue that culturally he had a big influence on our generation of like how to sort of like be a like a bratty kid.
Oh, no
yeah.
question.
Like I know watching that now, I sort of it reminded me of how big of a jerk I was in high school and middle school to my parents and friends. I was that kid. I was definitely like, fuck everybody. No one gets me, man.
Did you ever have a dirt bike, Ben?
I did.
Did you really?
Of course, I used to ride on jumps with my friends.
He's dirt bike Benny?
He's Benny, and he's from Jersey. Come on, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing Ben now with, like, the Edward Furlong flip on a dirt bike.
I had long hair. I used to wear army jackets.
Ugh.
So you just were John Connor.
Sorta. I had, combat boots.
Were you friends with Buttneck?
Fuck. I wish I
Did
was.
you have one of those computers that could hack an ATM machine?
No.
Yeah,
But I
that's
used
two of them.
Pretty good.
But I used to
Yeah,
steal
two of
stuff all the time from the Wiz.
Hey.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you know, their tagline was "Nobody beats the Wiz."
You beat
well,
them.
yeah.
And just to clarify, when Ben says he used to steal stuff from The Wiz, he means the Broadway revival of The Wiz. He would sneak in backstage and steal props and costume pieces.
That's correct.
And nobody beat them.
Yeah, and they're per diem pay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Buttneck really quickly?
Yes.
Well, can we spend 5 seconds?
Five
All
seconds,
right,
5
fine,
seconds.
but let's get to the movie.
All right,
Two
start
quick
the
things
time.
about
Sam's
Buttneck.
butt in a corner.
One thing. That actor attended Bucks Rock, the
Did he
summer
really?
camp Griffin and I met at. Yes.
Wow.
Years and years when he was
Okay.
very young.
Yeah.
2, I want you to notice he is literally shoved out of this movie.
That is true.
He gets
is shoved.
shoved away by the T-1000 and is gone from the movie and gone from Hollywood. He was shoved into obscurity by Robert Patrick.
Yeah, this
in
is
this movie.
undeniable.
It's literally like if you held up the celluloid strip of that scene, you
Yeah.
see him like fly out into the real world from that shot. What I was going to say about Furlong, and this is me commending the performance, and why I think it works so well, is to have him be a little boy so far away from having to be what he needs to be in order to lead the humans, and have the glimpses is the best way he could ever be portrayed on screen.
Yeah, that's why Stahl's performance suffers.
I think
'Cause you're like,
Stahl's-
but this guy's supposed to be a fucking...
Stahl's like weirdly the opposite, where like I think objectively it's a good performance, but it doesn't really work for the movie because you need him to be a little more powerful at that point in his life.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I also say, if we want to talk about just the beginning of this movie, because it's something you guys talk about a lot with high concept movies that you've done, of the explaining to the audience what's going on as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And I think this movie and Terminator 1 do it really quickly, really well, and cleanly. Like, I was a child watching this movie who had no idea Terminator 1 existed. And from the first...
Yeah, right, but you get it.
From that opening Linda Hamilton, like 3 sentences...
It's amazing.
Totally get it.
It's true.
Totally get everything that's going on.
Should we talk about Linda Hamilton?
Let's go through, the movie into this, because this is what I love, is like he gets the exposition shit out of the way so early on, literally in the opening credits sequence, right? Like before the credits and during is like, that's all this shit.
And opening with traffic, too. That first shot of the traffic is so great.
Well, it's like it goes from like the
90s.
endoskeleton's head to then it looks like shutters, and then it's like, oh no, this is the grate of a truck.
Yeah.
Just fucking elegant filmmaking. But this movie is so operatic, and there's this thing I love, because like we were saying right before we recorded, like once Cameron makes Aliens, he like goes big and he never goes home. Like every film is done on sort of this epic operatic scale, and there's like a confidence, which is tied to like Cameron's notorious like arrogance and single-mindedness and getting done what he wants the way he wants it. That like the movie just starts and it's like, fucking trust me, I know where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask for directions. I know where I'm going. Because it takes an hour for fucking John Connor, Sarah Connor, and the Terminator be in the same room. And there's very little exposition there because they've set up the world-building stuff. It's like he wants to put all the pieces on the board.
Yeah, he's introducing all three.
The story elements, emotionally what's at play, you know, the stakes, like all of this. It takes fucking forever. But you're watching it wrapped because every scene is innately dramatic, intriguing.
Bad to the bone.
Really bad
scene's
to the
bad to the
bone.
bone.
Yeah, we don't even have that much action until when the two of them come face to face at like 40 minutes in.
You're talking about the Schwarzenegger
The
and
two
T-1000?
Terminators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 37,
I guess.
But they're setting up like kind of 4 characters simultaneously that all get into the same space at the hour mark.
Yeah.
And like you look at something like, I love Inception. But Inception has to spend that hour setting up the rules of the universe.
Yeah.
Before it can have fun for the next hour and a half.
But an issue I have with Inception is that I think it over-explains what is happening.
I think so too.
I think
I agree with
that
you.
movie is not as complicated as the movie thinks it is.
I think they could have cut it by 25%.
But I don't think this does. I think even like a good example of what I'm talking about in Terminator 2 is he is able to show the powers, the abilities of both Terminators separately, quickly, and without the Terminator
Show,
having
don't tell. There's so little exposition in this way. I mean, once you get past the opening, it really is like it's taking a while to set up because it's good storytelling. Like he's telling you a story, and all of these elements are important, and he's showing them to you.
Yeah.
But like it isn't really until you get to like the Dyson shit where it starts having to explain shit again.
Yeah.
But the rules of the universe are so cleanly established, whether or not you've seen the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so fucking opening, Future War, Sarah Connor voiceover, sets it up. Future War looks fucking unbelievable here.
This time they really
you
went
see
all
some
out.
extra frog skin in this.
The lights go down, TriStar Pictures, here comes the Pegasus, and then Cameron unzips his fly and takes out his dick, and he's like, I got $88 million. And now we have fucking hunter killers flying in the sky, and as opposed to like the beautiful stop motion herky jerky endoskeleton,
which I like as well. Sure.
I love too. And then you have the rod puppet when it's only the upper body. Now you have this unbelievable shot where it's like stomping on the skull crushed, and then like fucking tilt up, and here's this fucking Terminator that's actually like moving and giving a performance.
Yeah,
is like tilting his head and has like
a weird
character.
grin.
Yeah,
weird.
Right. So he's just letting you know, like, okay, next level.
Yeah,
we're going here.
Yeah,
and then you go into like fucking fire. Opening credits under and over fire, and then just the skull slowly coming closer and closer.
So
to you.
great.
And it's just a promise that's like, hold on, I'm gonna get you there. And then we just go to a truck, and the movie just like takes its time putting the pieces in place.
Yes.
Here's the thing we've seen before: naked buff guy lands in a parking lot,
but still looks good.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that I think a good effect, and you see this in even from the opening bar scene where he has that fight, the effect of one person not grimacing during a fight scene really you immediately go, oh, this feels different.
Yeah,
like the way even like him like when he like sits up.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, he doesn't like. He's like, ugh, like you see so often
That's
in
why
like
he's so good.
movie fights. I mean,
He's the cool one.
well, and that's the key to like
He's
the
so
strength
cool.
of Arnold Schwarzenegger is that he is not innately an actor. That he is a physical presence.
Yeah.
That he is like
Okay,
an
sure.
athlete. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
And the way he tackles scenes is like an athlete, like objective of like, what do I need to do here?
I guess
So like, if you're an actor and you come from like a psychological mindset of trying to explore your character, it's very hard to be like, how do I not grimace here because I'm trying to play it real and be organic.
No, but
Whereas
playing
with
it real is him
Schwarzenegger-
not grimacing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he's perfect
I
in
think
this
Arnold-
because it's like, hey, just sit up and don't grimace. And I was like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
I think Arnold's a better actor than you're giving him credit for. But I think the physical presence thing is important because we buy that he doesn't grimace. That's more what
Agreed.
it is. He doesn't look like he'd need to grimace. Like,
Yes.
if it was Michael Biehn, we might not buy it. Like when
Yeah.
a knife goes in his flesh, that he wouldn't like have some reaction. It's perfect.
I watched this movie with my beloved Amazon X-Ray, and there was a
Jesus
trivia fact that I
Christ
hadn't heard
almighty.
before.
Go ahead.
When they did his makeup, not even like the special effects makeup, but like before
Schwarzenegger?
he's damaged at all, Schwarzenegger. I think they did this for Robert Patrick too, but definitely for Schwarzenegger, and especially you can see it in that opening scene where he's like totally naked. Just his basic like foundation kind of makeup. They mixed KY jelly into the makeup, so he has this weird sheen. He's got this kind of rubbery
Fresh
thing
out of the box.
going on. He really does look like very mint, And we talked about we talked about in our Terminator episode this weird thing where like Arnold Schwarzenegger is kind of the least sexual person in the world, is objectively just a beautiful object.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in this scene, the bar, when it's like, okay, they got a budget now. They have a hair guy. His hair's immaculate.
Yeah.
They got the makeup on him.
Yeah, he looks better in this movie.
The angles
He's
of
also
him are
better
just
dressed.
insane.
The sunglasses are
He looks like
perfect.
sharp and square
Yes.
and robotic.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
like immaculate.
That poster is, it's
It's
undeniable. Like, I mean, yeah, every bit accessory he gets, everything is perfectly.
That poster, we're looking at just the classic like
Schwarzenegger
blue
poster,
sheen,
yeah.
him on the motorcycle with the shotgun, gets at my favorite thing I've ever heard anyone say about Arnold, which is like he's the only actor whose name could actually fill a poster.
Right.
Like it felt so important when
Yeah.
there was a movie and it was just Schwarzenegger, and it was like they had to take 4 like shots at the poster before they could format the full name in there. But yeah, he just looks incredible.
Yeah.
And he's just still focused, minimal. I love the detail of like the guy he steals the biker clothes from. They're not like they look kind of loose and shitty on him.
Right, but
like
they fit Arnold.
Tailored it perfectly to Arnold's body. So when it's on the guy, it just looks like that's just some fucking sleazy biker. And then because the guy's smaller than him, it makes him look unbelievable when he puts it on.
He looks great.
Yeah. One complaint I've heard about this movie.
Okay.
Which I hear it, but it doesn't hurt the film for me.
Sure.
Jesse Vandenberg, friend,
okay,
says that he likes Terminator 1 more.
Uh-huh.
Not just because of
Get to the criticism.
This is one thing he likes more about Terminator 1 is that the badass look is developed organically, story point by story point.
This is a silly criticism. I dismiss it.
The hair gets burned off. That's why it's spiky. Why does he wear the sunglasses? Because the eyes, damn it. The leather jacket's replacement for the tech noir thing. Whereas this movie, he enters and he looks like badass Terminator 2.
The Terminator 1 is about a unfeeling kind of like roadblock of a thing that's just sort of moving through scenes.
Yeah.
Terminator 2, the idea is that he's a developing organism. Like, as he tells John,
Yeah.
So it's like, he like wants to put on the sunglasses. Why does he want to put on the sunglasses?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, but like there's like weird little like hints of personality to him.
Also, here's my counter argument. It looks fucking cool.
Yeah, here's my counter argument. Stop being a fucking dork.
Hey! Jesse should stop being a dork.
He should stop being a dork.
Yeah.
Anyway, Terminator 2. So we have Arnie. We've introduced the T-800.
Okay, that piece is on the game board.
Boop. John Connor, Edward Furlong.
Does he come in before the T-1000?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Can you guys remember? I just
watched this yesterday.
Yeah.
Too.
It's hard to remember because we've seen it so many times.
I know.
We just know all the scenes.
Yes.
Right.
I can't remember, but so, all right. Well, we can talk about the T-1000. We talked about John Connor. So, but just John Connor. We get that this is John Connor. If we've seen Terminator, we get that he's some sort of messiah figure. But he's
angry,
angry
a
little boy. He's got a little
Yeah.
scooter.
foster parents.
He hacks into ATMs.
Played by Vasquez. In one of the coolest,
Vasquez plays his foster mom. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Which I just love
she's
because
great.
it's like here she's playing more like who she is in real life. Like Vasquez was such a weird, like Lon Chaney transformative performance that like you can't even register that this is the same actress because like if you've seen Aliens first, you'd be like, well, that just must be who she is.
Yeah.
They just found Vasquez.
Right.
But it's Jeanette Goldstein.
We talked about her last week.
She's amazing.
She's got a big bra store and she's great.
Yeah, Jeanette Bra.
Jeanette Bra.
Alphabet starts at D.
So are we talking about Robert Patrick?
So but John, blah blah blah. We got him right.
He's
Patrick.
a brat. He's fucking badass. I was him for Halloween one year. They established that in the film.
You'd be. Yeah, they established that.
I remember that. You used to have that same Public Enemy T-shirt.
I still do.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that.
Yeah, army jacket.
Did you buy it for the costume or did you just have it?
I bought it for the costume, but it was a dual purpose. I mean, I was like really into Public Enemy, and I love Terminator 2, so I was like, oh, I'll buy this for the costume, and then I'll wear it all the time. And I wore it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, all the elements I bought for my John Connor costume, I just wore every day in different configurations. I did the army jacket for a long fucking time.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Like, and I had long hair. It was not good, but I, like, did the fucking flip, whatever. My, like, curly-haired version of that. I was just like, fucking, when I was a kid, I was just like, this guy rules. Like, and the thing
that's
I
what
love
we
about
didn't say.
him.
Sorry, you need him, and
Yeah.
that's why another reason Furlong is so good is because this is going to be a movie that's more appealing to teenagers.
Yeah.
And he's your way in.
And the relatable thing is that he's so fucking angsty.
and it's like, what if you had a Terminator?
Right, which is every
That'd
kid's
be
dream.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's also, he's so angry and bratty because, like, the world has handed him, like, a bad deck of cards. But also, as a kid, you're just like, well, I feel this way because I got hormones. Like, I'm
Exactly.
as angry as John Connor is.
But I do like that
Yeah.
idea where he's like, well, I used to think my mom was, I guess, right about the end of the world because I was grown up, told that the world is ending and like that I needed to train for it. And then someone told me she's crazy. So I guess she's crazy.
I mean, I'm thinking about like Luke Skywalker, right? He's annoying.
Who?
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
Luke
Like,
Skywalker.
Fuck that guy. Like he's
He's coming to get you.
he's so obnoxious initially. I don't know. I feel like there was something about this character that I like instantly related to. I think it's of the time and like of the tone of the era.
Yeah,
and it's dramatic irony too of being like, this is the most noble man, the most selfless man, the man who leads humanity. And then you're introduced to him, and he's like, he's like a little Bart Simpson,
He's very Bart Simpson.
Very
he says
Bart
no
Simpson.
problemo.
I had a slingshot. Go on.
Did you really?
Of course I did.
Oh, God, can we sell an animated series about Little Ben?
I'm trying. Yeah, little Ben.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the quote where he
Like
talks
Benny?
about his mom. Because there's something about the way I can't find
What's
it.
when he's hacking the ATM?
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you learn how to do that? It's like, from my mom.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, she taught me to do all this stuff. And it's like, oh, she sounds pretty cool. And he's like, no, she's a fucking nutcase.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, she was a little cool until she wouldn't stop talking about robots.
And she talked a lot about robots.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to this later, but I love that when they link back up, he's like the only person who can reach her at all.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, only halfway. You know,
she's been trained to not trust anybody.
Right, I mean, but like, and he'll be like, "We gotta be more constructive," or whatever. Like, it's like, blow them all up, or whatever. You know. Anyway, we'll get to her.
No, yeah, I don't. Not to jump the gun, but I think this is an incredible mother-son movie.
Oh yeah,
which like there aren't enough of. There are some, but like
most of them made by James Cameron.
Yeah, but to Robert Patrick, who we now see,
T-1000,
the T-1000. I feel bad for Robert Patrick watching this.
Why?
Because I think the other, especially Hamilton and Schwarzenegger performances are remembered so much from this.
Yeah.
Robert Patrick is great.
Incredible.
He's pretty well remembered for this movie. I feel like it's his, like, the thing he's remembered for.
No, I mean,
yes. I think I get what you're saying, that he didn't necessarily have, it didn't give him the career boost it should have.
Yeah, this is the thing he's most famous for.
Yeah.
It's not playing Doggett on season 8 of the X-Files, you know.
Well, what's weird is
he's great. I love Doggett.
He was good actor.
Not knocking Doggett.
Right. No one's knocking Doggett. Let's be clear.
He's in the CBS show The Unit.
Oh yeah.
Now he's in the CBS show
Scorpion. It is kind of a thing where, like, and I think actually the same thing happened to Jeanette Goldstein with Aliens. I was listening to a lot of our fans also listen to I was there too episode.
I told
you
really
amazing.
That's a great episode.
Yes. But it kind of hurt her that she assimilated this role so well, where like Schwarzenegger somehow figured out how to turn the Terminator into like a movie star and apply that persona into different characters, right? But Robert Patrick like wasn't an action star; he was like a character actor, and he like absorbed this role so well, and then like to the detriment of, I think, to a degree, like he never stopped working, but he always just kind of became like a guy. Because it was like, well, how do you do that in something else?
Yeah.
You know? And it was just like, well, because he's a good actor. If you give him anything, he'll figure out how to do it.
He made a lot of shitty movies. He just made Broken, Fire in the Sky, Double Dragon, Striptease, Zero Tolerance,
That's the other thing.
Copland.
He might just sort of cashed out. He might just sort of taken the money.
He's a heavy. He's a great heavy. He was like a heavy through the 90s.
But this is such a
I think
precise,
the other problem is,
like,
in this movie, he looks like a Cadillac. Which is how Cameron described the Terminator, right? Like,
he's so sleek.
Schwarzenegger's a tank. This guy's a Cadillac. Like and then he's aged, and he kind of looks weird now, like a grizzled old guy.
He does look weird.
Yeah.
You know what he's incredible in is The Sopranos. He had like a 3-episode guest star in that. He's fucking fantastic in that. As basically someone who like goes in deep debt to this, and Tony just like blows out his business, like just ruins him, and he like so he's just there as it's all happening. It's great.
I'm always happy to see him. It's just like he was so good in this, and there was no way to translate this to another performance. In a way, you know?
I also think when you watch T1, and you see Schwarzenegger's performance in that, which is great, but he's very cold, short, you know, as the bad guy. In this, and also making him a cop is so fucking brilliant.
Well, hey, good job, T-1000.
Yeah.
You should credit where it's due.
Yeah.
The T-1000 had that
decision.
idea.
Great decision.
Right.
But like that scene where he talks to John Connor's foster parents.
John. I wish I could do his voice. Have you seen this boy?
But it's also like he's kind of like, he's not cold. He doesn't come off as a villain. I would trust that guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that guy as a
the
cop,
audience is like, go ahead.
I mean, if that guy as a cop showed up and asked me where my foster son was, I wouldn't be like, this guy isn't a cop. He's a robot from the future.
The trick of the movie is like until the moment where Arnie says get down and then he shoots him.
Right.
The movie is presenting it as like, it's like, here's Arnie again, bad guy, out to get John.
Yeah.
And the opening voiceover.
Yeah. And then you're seeing Robert Patrick and he's a cop and he's looking for John. You're like, oh, this is the good one.
Right.
Now, they ruined that in the marketing, so.
They're not gonna,
But it is such a fun trick that the movie plays.
Beautiful.
Like, it's fun watching it play it.
But even in the opening narration that Sarah Connor does, she said, like, you know, the first attack happened when I was pregnant. The second attack happened when my son was whatever. They sent 2 Terminators back that time, one to protect, one to...
2 people.
Right.
2 things.
Right. And she said the question was, which one would get to him first? So you're already from the voiceover.
Right, you're primed for the same journey.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this movie shot during the Rodney King?
Correct.
Yeah,
probably. And then,
I think it was shot literally. They said one of their shooting locations wasn't far.
It's the biker bar.
It's the biker bar.
The biker bar was right where the beating happened on the night that it was happening.
So by the time this came out, especially in Los Angeles, cop trust was at a low.
Right.
You know,
Sure,
but
Pop
as it
Toast
still is today.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just,
But there's this beautiful thing that like the T-1000 is more advanced as a program, not just because it can do the liquid metal shit, but it's a better actor.
Yeah,
like it's
Sure,
more
right.
able to fit into
Which
normal
works.
society.
I
and
like
it's
that,
scarier.
yeah. Yes.
It makes Robert Patrick scarier.
Yeah.
You know.
But it has emotional range. It can play things.
Yeah.
I mean, what's beautiful about his performance is he's like almost human. Like when he's in the scenes as a cop interviewing people and whatever, it's like he's acting friendly, but there's something a little bit off. There's a little unnerving, but
where'd
it's
you
not
get that
like
bike?
yeah, that thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like.
But it doesn't feel like you'd be like, wait, this guy's
No,
a
I
fucking
know.
robot.
I get what you guys
yeah,
are saying.
Yeah, because the Terminator, you're like,
It's Robit, by the way.
I'm sorry, Robit.
And even when he has to, obviously, he plays other people a lot.
Yeah.
More than, I mean, the Terminator, I think in Terminator 1 has one scene where he does the voice copying on the phone.
Yeah.
The T-1000 legitimately, like,
Turns into people.
He's chopping
It's a
celery.
shapeshifter.
That's my favorite scene, is that the
When he's on the
T-1000
phone,
has
yeah.
to cut celery and pretend to be a mom for God knows how long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God knows how
waiting
long
for
he
the
was-
phone to ring or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Well, and Jeanette Goldstein talks about in that podcast episode that she like worked with Robert Patrick, and I think he did that with every other actor who had to play a version of him, where he was like, "This is what I'm doing. Here's how I figured
Sure.
it out. These are my tricks."
Right.
So everyone, it is a very cohesive like performance across
It
all
really
the other
is.
versions.
I know.
of the
Whenever
T-1000.
he shifts into another body, yeah, they match.
yeah,
It's nice.
and just sort of the very slight. I mean,
Robert.
he has such control of movement in that part.
Oh,
Oh,
the finger
The
wave.
fingers,
No, but the way he
unbelievable.
like brings it up, he's like
yeah, it's balletic. It's like
And
very
very
like
balletic.
yeah,
Terrifying.
terrifying.
A terrifying villain.
It's one of the best villains. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, this fucking movie. Okay, so
then
that's
there's
him.
Sarah Connor,
Oh,
My
Linda
favorite.
Hamilton
My favorite.
in the role of now in between the Terminator and Terminator 2.
Yeah,
Linda Hamilton had been on the show Beauty and the Beast
with Ron Perlman.
with Ron Perlman,
written by George R.R. Martin.
Hey,
among other people.
yeah, having
um,
some nice sewer love.
Yeah, she got a couple Emmy nominations, but it was always a cult show.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like, she wasn't a star at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I also looked up after this, because I watched this movie again. I'm like, this
she
is
makes one hit movie after. I mean, one big movie after.
It's such a good
Was
fucking performance.
Volcano?
Dante's
Peak. I always get the.
Go ahead.
And she's also in what's that terrible Jim Belushi movie where he goes back in time?
Oh,
I mean,
Mr.
sounds
Wonderful.
great. Mr. Destiny.
Mr.
Mr.
Destiny.
Yeah,
But I was like, how could she have not translated this
it's insane.
into something?
She's a tough one. I don't know. It's an interesting
It's
question.
such a good performance.
I think she
like-
had a lot of drama in her life, and so that was part of
Uh-huh.
it. And she was on a show, so shows are time consuming.
Right,
So she
right.
got kind of sucked into the show.
But after this, you feel like she should have gotten some sort of Sigourney post Aliens boost.
Yeah.
But Sigourney was already famous.
That's what I'm saying. Not the
Yeah.
same boost because Sigourney already had
Sigourney,
the,
like,
mark.
yeah.
But just like imagine that she would have, and it's like weird that like in Dante's Peak she's like not the badass. You know what I'm saying?
No, she's kind of just a person.
Like Sigourney didn't play a badass
She's
every
in, like,
time,
a pantsuit.
right after Aliens, but it was like they never let her do anything like this ever again, and it's incredible. Like you watch this, and it's even just there's the moment when she's sort of planning her breakout from the hospital, the psychiatric hospital, and there's like the nightstick on the ground, and the way she just sort of like picks it up and tucks it under her arm without missing a beat, just moving forward. She's like a fucking like Black Ops agent. In this
She's
movie.
also in incredible shape.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
She like looks very athletic.
But then it is like a human performance, you know? It's like she has her moments of vulnerability, her moments of warmth. I mean, it's like it's an amazing like
I agree.
full meal
I'm just
performance.
reading about her career or her life, and it's tough. She has like bipolar disorder.
Really?
She broke up. I mean, we talked about Bruce Abbott and
Uh-huh.
the guy who left her, and then she moved in with James Cameron, and they had a child, but then they broke up as well.
Didn't get married until years later, and then he left her when she was pregnant with the other
Although
kid, right?
she got $50 million in the divorce.
Right.
Good job.
Well,
Linda.
hey,
I
that's
know.
not as bad.
But
well, maybe not everyone's gonna be a movie star
but the
forever.
most just the most interesting detail
Yeah.
is Hamilton has described herself as a Democrat, but she did vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger
Well,
in the gubernatorial.
I mean, who can blame her?
Oh boy,
Hey, if I had lived in California, I might have.
I would have voted for him
she
twice.
should have voted for him the first time. I mean, not voted against him the first time and for him the second time, mirroring the Terminator arc.
Sam, will you allow me?
Yeah.
5 comedy points, David. I know Pat's not here, and we're trying to play.
Do you
by
remember
the
when there was
rule.
that really brief period of time after he got elected governor where they were like, is there going to be a constitutional amendment to allow him to run for president?
Oh, yeah.
There was like a few weeks where
sure.
we thought about doing that.
Hardcore.
But then we didn't, and it was a great decision.
It was a great decision.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, we maybe should have made it harder to run for president. I think that's what we're learning right now.
That's true.
But getting back to Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Even that first shot in the insane asylum of her is like so, like you're already so into this
Is
character.
the first shot of her like doing chin-ups or...
So did you guys watch the director's cut or the regular? Okay.
I watched the direct.
I think I watched the regular one. I know.
Did it have the Kyle Reese scene or not?
It did have the Kyle Reese scene.
That's
okay,
the
that's the
director's
director's cut.
Okay.
Yeah. The first thing is
the original cut is kind of hard to come across at this, but I think they want you to see the director.
Yeah, it's the pull-ups, and then you don't see her face until she spins around and goes, "How's your leg?" or whatever that line is.
The whole mental hospital part of it is so fucking good.
Oh,
like
yeah.
all the details, like the way she's being.
They take their time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
it's
that
like
they lay it all out for you. Like
yeah,
the way that guard like clangs his nightstick along the wall. Like all these things are like burned in my brain.
The interview scene.
is
where she is
so
trying,
good.
where she's like, "Well, you said that if I did this, that
Yeah.
I would be able to," and you're like, she's just like boiling.
Well, the fact that it's Dr. Silberman again is
That's great.
incredible.
Yeah,
because
it's
he
great.
could have so
Bowen,
easily
Earl Bowen.
made it a new doctor, but the fact that like there's that amazing
he's
moment
like,
in the
she's my
first
fucking
Terminator-
meal ticket.
Right.
Look at this
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that he's just sort of tracked her down, and it's like, okay, yes, of course they would want to institutionalize her because she's like trying to blow up computer companies.
Yeah.
And she like is talking about future robots. But I also love the idea that he was like, I'm not letting her get away. If someone's institutionalizing her, it's me because she's the one I've been looking for.
And how satisfying is that moment when Robert Patrick walks through the bars and the doctor sees it and the cigarette falls out of his mouth?
No, it's
and you're like, that is so especially watching T1 right before it, you're like, that's so fucking satisfying.
But here's the thing.
Fuck you.
In James Cameron movies, everything matters.
Everything's very satisfying.
Yeah.
Like everything is, except for In the Abyss, which is what's so crazy about The Abyss. But like everything's building to satisfying payoffs.
Right.
Like even like little mini payoffs like that one, which is so good.
Yeah.
And that's his last shot in the movie.
Yeah, I think so.
don't
He's
think
in T3, right?
He is. He's really good in it.
Yeah, and because he's like crazy in T3, right?
Yeah.
It's been Chris Hardwick's in T3.
Correct.
Yeah, points.
No comedy points, but points.
Yeah, just points.
There is just like a thing where I was watching this and I was like, any other director, especially doing a sequel where it's like, I got the audience in the pocket, they just want me to play the hits, right? Because like Cameron gets ambitious with his sequels, whether it's his own film he's sequelizing or someone else's.
Sure.
He gets ambitious. He moves laterally. He throws it off the hump, It doesn't just give people the same thing again. When he parallels stuff, it's sort of to get at a larger point, to connect the films even with their disparate elements. And I was just like, anyone else making this kind of movie would have had 1 2-minute scene in the insane asylum before the Terminator show up.
he breaks her out or whatever.
And you get like 6 of them, where it's like you just flash in, like especially in the director's cut where you have the Kyle Reese thing, and it's like, okay, she still is human.
Which is honestly, it's an interesting, it's not the most necessary scene. I can
think
see
it's a
why
little
they
clunky.
cut it. It's a little clunky just because you're so into what's happening in the thing. Like, you barely even need to be reminded of Kyle Reese. You know what I mean? Like, you're like...
Yeah, the weird thing is...
he was never really her equal anyway.
No, of course not.
And we're like, great, Sarah Connor's the best. I love this.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer watching the theatrical edition and knowing that scene exists in the back of my mind. You know what I'm saying? So I have that for the additional color, but I don't really love the scene in and of itself.
Is that Michael Bihn's last work with James Cameron?
Yes, it is.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
I also just forgot how dream heavy both these movies are.
Oh, yeah.
Well, her big dream. Whew.
Yeah.
Like
the nuclear.
The nuke dream. That's so cool.
Yeah. But you get like all of that, and you see, oh God, it's so good. I mean, and here's the thing, okay? In terms of like shit matters in James Cameron movies, like things pay off. He also just understands cinematic language so much, but also the language of storytelling and expectations and how people process things when they're watching them. And you look at like, okay, he's going to have the creepy guard who already has been proven to be a piece of shit lick her face because he thinks she's catatonic, and that's how much of a creep he is.
Sure.
And that's because he wants to have a scene where the 2 Terminators come in and they have to knock guys down and you don't feel bad for the guys.
Yes, that is true. Right.
Because we've already had the thing in the parking lot where the 2 guys are like trying to break up the fight and you feel bad for those guys.
Yeah.
And that works in the movie.
I don't feel bad for him.
What?
Fuck them. Fuck those guys.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Nah.
All lives matter.
No.
Oh,
No,
God.
that's not funny.
That was like a double reverse joke.
Oh, God.
That was like a double reverse
You
joke.
receive no comedy point.
That's
Correct.
fine.
All right, let's pick up like that didn't happen.
But Ben, can you copy paste that and play it 2 times in a row?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
And we're back.
I just think about always as the counterpoint.
Ben, don't do that.
The fucking thing with the Ben, do it. The thing with the assistant. Hashtag Ben Lives Matter. Play that twice. The thing with the assistant.
How are your father's finances?
Great. They've leveled out after I gave him a major loan. The thing.
Ben, keep that in.
Yeah. Ben, play it 3 times.
Okay.
Play it again, Sam.
Play it again, Ben.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And we're back.
The thing. The thing in Jurassic World with the fucking assistant, right?
Oh god.
Where she's like made
Let's
a
not talk
ragdoll
about
of
this
with the
movie.
fucking
Pterodactyl,
pterodactyl. Jesus Christ, the pterodactyl and everything.
Taruk the first flight.
Taruk the first flight. Never forget.
So loopy.
The thing. When Colin Trevorrow had to defend that in interviews, people were like, why did she get eviscerated that hard? He was like, well, I like playing with the expectations because we're used to, like, if there's a bad guy, he's going to get it really bad. And if someone's innocent.
Sure, Colin. Okay. I get the trope you're talking about.
But if you're making a movie that's painting in such broad strokes.
It's a fucking tropey movie.
It's not a subversive movie. When you do that,
Jurassic World.
Right. The messaging you're giving us is she's a shitty person. She deserves to die. If you didn't think she was bad,
Hollywood movie.
I'm telling you that she was bad.
Like, if you want to fuck with the thing, then set the whole movie in the control room. We never see a dinosaur. They're just flashing dots on a screen.
Right.
That would be a Jurassic Park
Jake
movie.
Johnson and Lauren Lapkus freaking out. And Vincent D'Onofrio comes over and he's like, what's going on in here? And then he leaves.
That is the only moment I like in that film, which it has been confirmed was an improv edition by Jake Johnson. It was written differently, is the scene where he has the romantic speech to Lauren Lapkus and tries to kiss her. That's the only interesting concept in that movie is, what if everyone in this situation thinks they're the lead of a Jurassic Park movie?
Right.
Like the guy in the tech room thinks that he's Alan Grant.
Vincent D'Onofrio thinks that he's Alan Grant.
Right.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio's in that movie.
Yeah. But I just he just understands this film. It's a theme park ride. It's a roller coaster ride. There are dips and turns, but he wants you to know I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to lead you astray. Follow the straight line.
Yeah.
But
you also want Sarah to really whack that guy with a nightstick and then his tooth pops out.
But that's the thing. Because he's I'm going to make it clear that this guy deserves
No,
what
I
he's
know.
getting.
I get what you're saying.
All
right.
I love
We're in the first 20 minutes of the movie. We've been
we're at
talking
the
for an
hour
hour
mark.
and a half.
This happens an hour.
That's the thing. It does. Yeah. We said, it's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's very deliberate.
And well paced.
It's very well paced. I love her move of taking the Drano out in the syringe and then sticking it in his neck and then walking. It makes her walking him feel much more precarious because you're like, God, I don't want to see that thing snap off in his neck. I don't like.
It's rules.
You
You
also,
understand.
It's one of those things where you're like, well, what would happen if she plunged him?
Sure, right, yeah, exactly. What would this
he
even
die
look like?
Yeah,
Right,
would he start vomiting? Would he
Yeah.
die immediately? What? It just, it's so good.
And then in her big escape scene, which she's been planning for forever, right? And we're really into it. What I love is she is so on. And then she just runs into Arnold Schwarzenegger and she just collapses on the floor, basically. Yeah.
And starts
it's
running.
the best. And he's such a nightmare.
Back into
No,
the asylum.
She slides.
She's like, you know what, you were right. I'm
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
get back in. She has a Bugs Bunny, never mind.
And then
kinda.
the movie deploys its quote-unquote twist, which we know, I guess. But,
Come with me if you want to live.
and then he, the thing where he just, I guess he shoots him up, but the shot where he shoots him
and the head
in the
splits
elevator
open.
and the head splits open.
Yeah.
Ugh. I used to watch that frame by frame because it was I couldn't even believe it when I was a kid.
Well, and there is that great thing where the shot, when they cut to the back of his head,
you can see it's about to
it's
pop
not
open.
a properly formed head.
It's not a real person's head.
Right.
They don't shoot it.
It's movie magic.
I will say, for a movie that was made 25 years ago,
Looks
the
great.
effects in this movie look fucking great.
Well, yeah, and so much of that has to do with how well thought out everything is.
Yeah.
Look, this was the most expensive movie ever made at the time. I just grazed your hand accidentally, but we're also friends and we can do
The
that.
film cost $102
Yeah.
million
You were a little off
dollars.
on that one, Sam.
Okay.
3.5 times the cost of the average film at the time, says Wikipedia.
And there was
Sure.
even a thing where, it was going to be 75, and then they were 88, and it kept on creeping up, and everyone was freaking out about it. You can't make a movie for that much money.
But
right.
also,
especially an R-rated movie,
Right.
a sequel to a weird, quite popular but not blockbuster film.
Oh,
I mean, it is blockbuster. You know what I mean?
And then you cut to 16 years later, and How Do You Know costs $120 million.
Well, look, How Do You Know is always going to be a weird footnote in everything, but yes.
Well, how do you know that?
But also, every dollar of that's on this.
David's really angry.
I was so happy until this moment.
Every dollar of that is on the screen.
100%.
All those stunts are real. The helicopter,
apparently
even
there
the
was
helicopter under the bridge.
LA River,
guys, according to Wikipedia, there was an $11 million Gulfstream jet that was given to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that is not on the screen.
No, it's not. But that's implied in his performance.
It is.
You're right.
He's relaxed. He's very relaxed.
He can go anywhere in a
You're right. I take it back.
Every night he was able to take the jet back home from set. And he self-reported with the Gulfstream jet. What I was going to say is, what I love about this movie is most expensive movie ever made, groundbreaking use of CGI,
this is the first time out of 3 that he's going to pull the trick of making the most expensive movie ever made.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
He does
out of
it again
4.
What's the?
They've never disclosed the Avatar budget, but there's no way it wasn't the most expensive.
That's what I'm going for.
True Lies was also the most expensive.
Oh, right,
movie ever
and
made
True
at the
Lies.
time.
I keep forgetting about True Lies. Sorry, True Lies. So 4 times.
4 times he
True
made the
Lies,
most expensive movie
Titanic,
ever made.
and Avatar
4
were
times
all the
in a
most
row.
expensive movies.
Every time he makes a movie, he makes the most expensive movie has ever made. All the prosthetic stuff is amazing, the animatronic stuff and the makeup effects and whatever, but it's the most effective T-1000 thing for me, and it's the simplest. And it's fucking you could do it in a student film, is the splatters on his shirt when Arnold shoots him. And that's literally just he's walking, they cut to Arnold shooting the gun, and the next cut, he's got the thing on him.
Yeah.
It's not animated, it's not moving. They're just in between takes, taping a thing to his chest.
And you could see behind the scenes shots of him wearing that jacket, and you're like, oh, that looks shitty.
Yeah.
When you see it, but in the movie, it looks great.
He knows what's the angle, what's the lighting, how quickly is it on screen.
Yeah.
That thing. It's a quick flash. All you just need to see is the splash. Oh, this movie rolls.
So then everyone links up.
Yeah.
Let's just move the plot along a little bit.
And they go to Mexico.
Then they go to Mexico.
Well, there's the chase scene, and then they go to Mexico.
Chase scene's very cool. The chase scene is really the idea. Robert Patrick looks like he's running faster than he is.
That's so funny.
It is very cool.
It's an amazing.
Yeah, the way he just picks up speed, even though of course he can't. In real, it works.
It also brings up an argument that I've had with a lot of people, and this can also be applied to later when he gets shattered.
Yeah.
Of the idea behind the metal man, and does he need all of his metal all the time? Remember when he has that little bit
that
gets absorbed into his foot? It's well, could he be okay without that? What if they had helped? What if John Connor had kept that? Is Robert Patrick a little
how
smaller?
do you keep it? Because you'd have to put it in a jar.
If you put it in a jar,
but it'd probably be able to get out. It would just turn itself into a little spike.
It would turn into a little mini.
Robert Patrick.
No, the real question is, if a piece of Robert Patrick breaks off, does that piece have its own consciousness?
Yes. Okay, here's what
I think no. I think you need all the code together, and that's why it has to join back together.
And that's,
There's that great scene where, John is asking him all the questions about, why wouldn't he turn into a bomb? It can't be complex machinery. It's what about weapons? And it's spiky things. And it's okay, this is getting out all the rules of the character, the things that the audience are wondering right now.
Yeah.
But he also still makes a character development because it's he's a 12-year-old boy. Of course, he's going to ask all these weird, silly questions.
Yeah, it works. And
so
I love that he's Skynet begins to learn exponentially. He has all. It's all he's a Wikipedia entry.
Right.
He just shoots it out of his brain.
I was going to say, with the exception of the tick, just because I took it so seriously, didn't want to fuck around at all, anytime I have to run on screen, and I'm shooting something right now as we're recording at this very moment,
Yep.
but where I've had to do some running scenes, I always do the T-1000 run. I always do the fucking blades. I think it's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
and it also does make you look faster.
Yeah, it does, because it looks streamlined.
Right. It makes me look like I'm better at running than I am, and B, I just always think it's the funniest thing to do to run like you're the T-1000.
But no, there's the scene where Linda Hamilton chooses not to destroy him, where they take the chip out of his brain.
Oh, sure.
To upgrade him, which is good. It just shows that Linda Hamilton's on board, and then they
Yeah.
go to Mexico.
And this is the moment where Linda Hamilton's twin comes into play. Because the way they were able to do that scene, this is fucking the best movie shit ever. So the way that set was set up, right? You have a fake dummy of Arnold Schwarzenegger's head and shoulders, a bust of him that she's able to reach into and pull stuff out of.
Sure.
Standing next to that, doing the work, is Linda Hamilton's sister, her twin sister.
Right.
And then the mirror is actually an open frame, and on the other side of that is the real Arnold Schwarzenegger and the real Linda Hamilton mirroring.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Fucking amazing.
That's
amazing.
Cool.
And that's the thing, for how much this movie costs, there's a lot of just smart, like, oh, we could just put like a...
Yeah, sure. It is funny anytime.
She's got a twin, it's a mirror.
Yeah, they're like, oh, there's another one of her. Great. That'll save some money.
Yeah. I just love that, like, he spends more money than anyone else, but also if he can do something simply... That was like the big thing.
It's hard to know with him. Like, yeah, you say the money, as you say, the money is all on screen. I can't deny that. Yeah.
In Avatar, there's that one moment when Jake Sully is like wearing shorts and he gets in the wheelchair and he's got
the weird crippled
right, and
feet,
they're like sort of
legs.
malnourished, like no muscles or whatever, and everyone's like, oh, that's really unsettling. That like the CGI on that's amazing, and he's like, no, we like put fucking Sam Worthington in a chair that was cut out and his legs were hidden underneath them. We had rubber legs in front of them.
Yeah.
Like he was literally doing like a fucking Wienerville trick, you know?
Yeah, it's Wienerville trick.
He was a
Wienerville
consultant. He was a consultant on Wienerville.
Yeah. Well, Cameron was going to do Wienerville at first, and then he left to do True Lies and Mark Wiener took over.
But I think in the Mexico scenes, this is where I had this thought of, I think you get a lot of character development. It's like a little bit of like a slowdown.
Yeah.
Let's like develop some characters, especially with Schwarzenegger and John Connor.
Yes.
That's where like the Hasta La Vista baby stuff comes in. The smile scene, which is my favorite fucking scene in the movie.
The best.
Him attempting to smile is so funny.
I saved a picture here. Go on.
It's so funny.
It is so funny. It's great work from
I was like, I think that if Arnold did this performance today, he'd have a shot at an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Also, fucking Linda Hamilton should have
Linda
been
Hamilton
nominated.
would.
It's insane.
Okay.
I don't know that Arnie would. I think they just can't take that kind of thing.
Do you guys,
seriously.
because I looked this up, because I figured he would be best supporting.
Arnold?
No.
Think
What, are
he'd be
you
best
crazy?
lead? You think he'd be lead?
He was so big at the time, there's no way they would make him support.
Wait a second. There's no question he wouldn't be lead. Are you fucking crazy?
I don't know.
Of course he's lead.
Hey, Sam's our guest!
Jesus Christ, he might have the most screen time in the movie.
Sam's our guest!
Sorry, I got very mad. I get very mad about categories.
Well, I think maybe he'd be lead.
I think,
definitely be lead.
See, I think they would have done a tricky thing and made Linda Hamilton support him.
No, they campaigned her actively for lead. They really tried to get her a nomination.
God.
She's very much a lead actress.
Do you know who the
I thought they
other-
would have tricked it.
I
Yeah.
wrote this down.
Okay.
Do you know who the other lead actors were who were nominated that year?
In 1991,
Yeah, it's 92. You know, it's
Okay.
the 64th Oscars, 92.
Anthony Hopkins?
He won for Sounds of the Lambs.
Right. 1991.
For like 18 minutes of screen time. or
Yeah,
whatever.
which is insane.
Totally deserved.
Insane. But also a
a
supporting
great performance.
No, it's a lead performance and it's totally deserved.
Yeah.
There's no question. He is the lead of the movie.
That
And
movie's
it's a great movie.
Yeah. You
And
watch
he's
it
great
and
in
the
that.
math doesn't check out. Like,
Yeah,
you can stop
exactly.
watching and it's still like, no, but he's in all of this movie.
Exactly.
It feels like he's in every scene.
Yeah.
He's not. It's not a supporting performance. It just isn't.
You can be timing it and be like, okay, 17:54, and then the second the movie ends, it goes up to an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love him in that movie.
Okay.
Go on.
1992.
These are hard. I would say these are kind of hard.
Okay. Do you have any guesses, David?
Oh, sorry. I wasn't really
90
thinking
92
about it.
Best Actor.
Hmm.
Is that JFK year?
Yes.
So
but
Costner is not nominated?
No.
He's not nominated.
Weird.
Tommy Lee Jones is for supporting.
Right. Weird. I
No.
always forget that he wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
Who were the other guys? Hanks didn't have a... No.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. It's the Bugsy year, right?
Yes.
Warren Beatty for Bugsy.
Yep.
He
It's
gets- okay,
De Niro for Cape Fear.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just kicking into trivia mode right now.
You were looking up the picture, and now you're immediately
Yeah,
recalling
I
the
can't
other
find
four.
the picture either. It's really annoying.
Okay.
It's Nick Nolte, Prince of Tides,
Yep.
and Robin Williams for Fisher
Yeah,
King.
I mean, look.
Stone Cold.
We got Stone Cold.
Stone Cold. Yeah.
Which, like, I think
Sorry,
Schwarzenegger.
guys. Sorry,
We
that
used to
was like
call
me showing.
David Stone Cold Sims.
I'm
for
not saying that.
trivia.
You know, I haven't seen Bugsy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
I didn't find the picture, but I did find my favorite poster of the year, which I saved. Halloween.
It's for Tyler Perry's Boo on my day
It's
off.
so good. It's so good.
Halloween.
Sorry, carry on.
My point is,
Good afternoon.
So you think where would you put Arnie?
I would maybe. I mean, like, I
You're
don't.
gonna fuck over Nolte?
I don't love Robin Williams and Fisher King.
Oh, I like that performance.
Nolte's really good in Prince of Tides.
He is.
He's the best thing in a really shaky
I've never
movie.
seen Bugsy, so I can't speak to Warren
Beatty's
Beatty.
good in Bugsy. It's
De Niro's
I
good.
I might lose Beatty. De Niro's good.
De Niro's good in
making that
Cape
movie.
Fear, and it's De Niro, so it's
no,
I would have lost
he's definitely
Beatty.
good.
I would have lost Beatty, and then Best Actress for 1992.
I didn't
Jodie
look that
Foster
up.
wins.
Gina Davis for Thingy-Majig, Thelma. You know,
Okay,
Gina
and So
Susan,
Sarandon.
and they're going to be in there.
Right.
They're going to be in there.
Who are the other two that we can
Well, I'm going to have to look it up.
cut? Okay.
You've got Laura Dern in Rambling Rose, which is a very well-deserved nomination for like an up-and-coming actor.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think if Schwarzenegger was ever going to have a performance that could have got nominated, it was this one.
Well, this is unquestionably his best performance.
Yeah. He's amazing.
It's the movie that weaponizes all of his strengths and weaknesses and makes them all intentional.
So the fifth nominee is Bette Midler in For the Boys.
Oh, get that the fuck out of here!
I love Bette Midler, but I mean, she'd already been nominated for the Rose. Like, I'm pretty sure she was. I don't think you.
Yeah, she was nominated for the Rose.
I don't think you need to give.
No, we can get that the fuck out of there. Look, Divine Miss M. We appreciate all you've given us over the years.
Linda's great.
Yeah.
But you should, and his Oscar clip should have been John Connor asking him to smile.
T2. I mean, it was nominated for 6 Oscars. It won 4.
But all visual stuff, right?
Visual, sound,
cinematography, editing.
It didn't win cinematography and editing.
Right, but it got nominated for those two.
For them, yes.
So those are like big boy categories. Yeah.
But yeah, it should have been in there. You know, that was especially back in the day. They really segregated out like this sort of big sci-fi.
That's why I think today he would have had a better shot.
Yeah,
he might have.
But that is why the Aliens
take him seriously.
Best Actress nomination is so like.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's amazing. Awesome. It just doesn't make sense that they'd
be
cool enough to do that in that moment.
Every once in a while they'll have a really cool nomination, but you go, well, they'll never win.
Yeah,
like the nomination's great, but it's like they will never have the balls to give the Oscar to someone like Melissa McCarthy for Bridesmaids.
Right. Well, and here's like, this is another one I think about all the time. At the time, Johnny Depp being nominated for the first Pirates of the Caribbean was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And now it feels annoying because he's done it 7 more times to diminishing results. You know, like,
yes.
But at the time, it was like,
no,
that's an amazing performance. I feel like he almost got close. He won the SAG Award.
Won? No, Bill Murray
was the Penn-Bill Murray split. And
Sean
he
Penn
was
won.
sort of the outside. But Depp won Best Actor at SAG.
Wait, Sean Penn won for
Mystic River. Yes, I guarantee you 100%.
You might be right. I'm looking it up.
There was this thing where Penn and Murray were splitting each other so much that it was like Depp could maybe sneak in.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah.
Good for him. He should have won that year, even though now it seems like he's maybe a terrible person and that sucks or something. I don't know. It's bad.
Well, yeah, it's very hard to watch those performances now,
knowing
Depp. Yeah, knowing what we know, which
I'm
is
talking about Griffin Newman.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Thank you. 5 comedy points.
No.
It's difficult to watch, those performances now, knowing as we do present day that, he of course would go on to make Alice Through the Looking Glass. But I think I made that joke before on this podcast.
Oh boy.
To go back to Schwarzenegger's performance. The other great moment he has, I think, is towards the end when they're in the steel mill.
Johnny Depp's a piece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
5 truth points.
Yeah.
He's in the steel mill and he's trying to tell John to run away.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the movie, he has always spoken. He's still spoken monotone, but he's like learned some. He's been a little smart alecky. When he says, "John, you've got to go now," he says it with a force that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Like that we haven't seen that character do.
I agree.
And an emphasis in speaking,
Well, and look, I mean, this film works so well around the confines of what he can do because it's like the most human he can be is robot who's just started to become human.
Yeah, the most human he can be is kind of robot who's like maybe a little John Connery.
Right.
Like, got a little John Connor in him. Yeah.
He gets that rude toot.
A little bit of a rude toot.
Escape Plan, which is by and large a pretty uninteresting movie.
Sure.
Has this scene in it.
With John Connor?
With John Connor, where Schwarzenegger needs to distract a guard. So he starts speaking in his native language, pretending to have a mental breakdown.
It's the only good scene in the movie.
And he's amazing in it. Sure. And you go like, wait a second. We always make fun of the fact that he's wooden and he uses it to his advantage.
Right, but now you're seeing him in his natural language.
He gives this great naturalistic performance in this one scene of like a man fighting mania. And you're like, oh, he just never got over the language barrier. Like, it's very hard to act in another language.
Right.
But he never feels like a human being. He always feels like a weird heightened thing.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't help that he also made a ton of movies where he is a weird heightened thing in the movie.
Right.
And he made a lot of really bad career decisions.
100%.
And then he was the governor of California.
Which was a terrible career decision.
It really hurt his movie career.
It really fucked with it.
It really
he
did.
didn't make a lot of movies.
No, he did.
It was weird choice.
But I just think it's like, for a performance given by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the English language, Terminator 2 is like, this is the way he's going to look the best.
I just feel like if you're gonna run for governor, you should be called the Governator.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you remember when everyone was like, they did this big windup of like, Arnold's about to announce his next project. He's just left office, his next project. What's it going to be? And everyone was like freaking out. And then Entertainment Weekly had the exclusive, which was Arnold's animated series called The Governator, where he's a governor who wears a leather jacket and has a team of like 4 kids and a dog, and they go fight like societal crimes.
I love it. I love the idea of him being in his office and being like, that's a great idea. Like someone pitching this to him.
Stan Lee was executive producer.
Wrote it.
It was called The Governator.
Yeah.
He fucking had a leather jacket and a team of kids, and they were animating it, and it got canceled because the news broke about him having the love child.
Oh, sure.
Also hurt his career.
Yeah, but like suddenly they didn't want a thing that's like Arnold teaming up with kids. They like shit-canned it. They were already animating episodes. Yeah.
Okay, we are
governor.
So he goes
halfway
to
through
Mexico.
Terminator 2.
Okay.
Yes.
They go to Mexico, all that stuff. She has the nuclear dream.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Which is good.
Which is
is
great.
necessary. You need to understand
good motivation.
Yeah. Exactly. How fucking driven she is by this like nightmare.
See the dog again.
I don't mean like just the nightmare she has. You do see the dog again.
You do see the dog
German
again.
Shepherd.
Yeah. But it's really hanging over. She can't turn it off. She's thinking about this all the time.
And so we sort of so then the movie actually plot-wise is incredibly simple. Like their whole plan is like, let's just go to Cyberdyne Systems, which is going to make Skynet.
Well, they didn't have that plan. That was her just going, right? She has that dream because their plan is just to escape. That was my understanding, was that their plan was...
might be right.
I think
their plan is like, let's just...
she sets out first, right? 'Cause
like,
she writes the future is not set, like, with the knife or whatever.
No fate.
Yeah, no fate. Yeah.
There's also that moment I love where she's watching the T-800 and John Connor high-five each other, and there's like the...
And she has the internal monologue about like, he's got a dad now.
Yeah. And that's why she's okay with leaving.
Right.
Because she, in theory, is like kind of on a suicide mission.
Basically.
She's like, I don't know if I'm going to die.
I forgot. It's her who decides to go to Cyberdyne.
Yeah.
To just blow everything up. And we have, of course, we've been dropping in these little moments at Cyberdyne where it's like we realize like it's like a time loop thing. They got the arm from the Terminator in once, and then they could make the Terminator or whatever.
Really, it really cooks your noodle, to quote The Matrix, in that if...
Bakes your noodle.
Sam and I just shook hands.
Is it bakes your noodle?
That's what the Oracle says.
When do you bake noodles?
Excuse me, are you not a Jewish man? I don't know if you are. I have no idea.
I don't
Google?
eat Jewish food.
Yeah.
I guess you bake a lasagna.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bake lasagna.
Yeah, exactly.
You
can bake some noodles.
Bake ziti? You ever hear of baked ziti?
Yes. We're really
Is
going
that
after,
not a noodle?
We're really going after Sam right now, and he's on the ropes. He's sweating.
He's on the rope.
And you can just tell that we've really devastated him, and I'm proud of us for doing so.
Excuse me.
No, okay.
Really bakes your noodle.
It really bakes your noodle.
Yeah.
But to talk about Dyson, another really great performance.
Great performance,
What a
Joe
good
Morton.
performance. The great Joe Morton.
And also, I will say that Cameron could have done this classic thing where they go, they convince him what's going on, we're going to destroy all your stuff.
Sure.
Dyson easily could have been a villain. Dyson
Totally.
easily could have
Of
made
course.
that turn of like, no,
I can't
you're
do
telling
it.
me I'm going to be brilliant.
No,
and
but
I'm
his performance is, it's perfect.
It's like
He's
you
a real guy.
believe him.
He's a real guy.
Convinced.
Yeah.
He's genuine, and he loves science.
And he loves Asa Patha-Murkerson.
Yes.
Who
But
plays his wife.
he gets so excited when talking about it. Even when he's shot and he has the arm out, he's still like, yeah, we're going to like the breakthroughs, things we never imagined. And then he's like, then he realizes again
it's
what
all
it's going to cost. It's so good.
But all from an arm? I don't know, man. Come on. I guess they have the little chip, too.
Yeah.
He ripped it. I mean, and he also
it's just
the
like
same arm, too.
Well, right, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I just love the idea that they find this arm. They're like, arm? Interesting. We could arm the computer system. Like, how are we supposed to imagine?
What I also love, it's a classic time travel trope.
No,
but
it
the
is,
sort of
yes,
closed loop thing of like, okay, they're trying to prevent this thing, but actually that's what started the thing. They only were able to reverse engineer the technology from the remnant of the Terminator that they had made.
And of course, this is all playing into what the emotional climax of the movie is going to
Future's
be,
not
which
right.
is, well, but also, that he has to melt himself. But we're getting to that.
Right,
yeah.
of course. Love it. But
yeah, I know now why you cry.
Yes, I know now why you cry.
What's wrong with your eyes?
There is this element of like the Terminator becomes the stepdad, and when she's in the hospital, it's like she's freaking out about him being there without her. Like, she just doesn't trust.
He's gonna
the
like
world.
get off the path.
My son is out there alone, or whatever she says. Yeah.
And she, for the first time, is like, there's someone else who cares about my son and understands what's at stake
and can protect him.
Yeah. she's really good in the whole Mexico sequence. She has to play a lot of shades.
Yeah. So she tries to shoot Dyson, and like just before she finishes the fucking job, she does shoot him.
Yeah, but I love the fact that like she's like the hero of the movie, you know. And here's this scene that's like really frightening, like this home invasion scene.
Yeah.
You imagine it from their perspective,
the kid and Asa Murkerson.
Right, it's like Joe Morton and Asa Murkerson are two of the most like empathetic actors.
Very
They're just,
empathetic actors.
Really good, like fucking like salt to the earth, human, like behavioral actors. And now you have like Sarah Connor coming in, Linda Hamilton's like ripped.
Yeah.
She's like decked out in the fucking sunglasses and the hat, and she's like armed to the nines. And she's coming in, and it's just like terrifying. Mm-hmm. But it is because she's assuming that he's gonna be, in a way, the stock version of that character in a shittier movie.
Yeah.
The guy who's like, you can't derail my career. Mm-hmm. And he's like, wait, no, I'm a guy. I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
We can do this together. You know, he doesn't fucking double cross her. He just like wishes that he could be the best scientist in the world, but understands what's at stake.
And he wants, when they are in Cyberdyne destroying stuff, he takes the axe from Arnold.
Yeah.
When he only has one functional arm.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I've been working on this for 10 years.
Yeah.
I want to be the one who destroys it.
Smashes it
and
up.
smashes the big chip.
Well, look, he's a scientist. Why'd he get into science? To help the world.
Yeah.
So as much as it hurts him to destroy his own creation.
Jesus, he has a real boner for fucking Dr. Dyson over
here.
I
Jesus
Christ.
Yeah, you're talking to two boner boys for
guess
Dyson.
What? He blew up.
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
David.
Hey.
Sorry.
Also, his breathing in that scene.
Oh my God!
I will never.
And his like hand is like just sort of like hovering over the detonator. It's great. Yeah, they go to blow up Cyberdyne. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. What do you think? Do you think it's cool?
Movie. Yeah, it's a fucking best.
Yeah.
Can I say one great thing I discovered again watching these two movies back to back? So in the first movie, in the "I'll be back" scene, right? He says, "I'll be back."
Sure.
Goes,
drives the car,
gets a car, drives into the police station. This is something I didn't realize. In the second one, he says, "I'll be back." Goes, shoots him in the kneecaps, shoots him with the gas. Goes, gets a van,
drives it in,
and drives it
to
in
rescue him. Mirroring.
Never noticed that until
I'll
these
be back.
viewings.
He says it like that.
Yeah, but it's like, and it's great.
It's great.
The Cyberdyne scene's really cool. It is almost comical the way he shoots just so many knees. It's just an incredible amount of knees are mutilated.
Devastating.
It's very painful, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's no fun.
It's the second most painful place to be shot besides the stomach.
Yeah. It looks fucking awful. God. Yeah. This movie, everything about this movie's cool.
Everything, I know this is the thing. We've gone for very long, but it's like everything in the movie is cool. The
Gatling gun.
The
mini
gun.
The fucking punched out window, and the lights hitting him perfectly.
It's so methodical the way, and
he just got that like shoulder duffel bag with like the fucking rounds, you know?
I mean, what's cool about the Terminator and about so many action heroes, right, is like that he does not seem to care that he is so awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't go like, "Eehaw!" Is he like it's sort of like the Matrix scene where they're all just dropping the weapons when they're done with them.
Right.
You know, it's like they're
like
methodical.
Right.
It's
when
cool.
that happens in Rambo, it's like, well, this is a little gross.
Well,
like,
in Rambo, he's supposed to be crazy.
Exactly. But I'm saying, like, in this, it's like, well, it makes sense because he's a robot. He's not programmed to be self-aware. And the Matrix, it's like, well, he's a robot. And in Matrix, it's like, no, this is real. It's a computer program. Like, I love that this movie, like, it has the moral ground to be like, he can just be fucking badass and not, like...
But I just want to say, I just love the way the T-1000 gets into the helicopter and, like, turns into a blob and then, like, kind of blobs his way through the window, and then he, like, he gets a helmet back he, like, talks to him while he's still in metal form.
Get out.
That's so cool.
Which
and the guy just jumps out of the helicopter.
But that's the same thing Schwarzenegger says in the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Great line. Thanks, James Cameron, for your great screenplay.
Yeah. Copy.
You were saying off mic that this is his best screenplay. I think I might agree with you.
Yeah. I think like in terms of dialogue and like I think that's his weak point as a filmmaker.
It is.
And I think this is like a good like
yeah. I love me some Aliens.
We don't Aliens is a good screenplay too. We don't have a beef with this movie.
No. There is a thing for me. Like Aliens and T2 are neck and neck for my favorite Cameron movies. And anytime I'm watching one, I'm like, well, clearly this is the better one.
Yeah.
And then I watch the other one, I'm like, well, clearly this is like...
I need to watch Aliens again because I think I've only seen it once or twice.
Yeah, they're both sequels. That's why
Avatar 2?
That's the thing. Like, on its face, I watch Avatar, and I'm like, I like Avatar a lot.
Avatars?
I think it ends perfectly. I hope it's called Avatar.
There's no way it's going to be called Avatars.
Avatars.
With a dollar sign?
Yeah. On its face...
That's a reference to an episode that hasn't aired
when that movie ends, I feel no need to go back. Much like Jack
Avatar.
Reacher, I walk out of that theater
You say
going,
you're never
never
gonna
go
go
back.
Never go back.
But then you hear that Kobe Smulders has been signed.
God, if Kobe Smulders is in Avatar
too?
yeah.
Avatars.
Yeah.
What about Avacars?
I would love
With
it. Disney
cars.
Pixar's Avacars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
They all have ponytails.
I think everything after Dyson, that whole action
Very
sequence,
streamlined.
leading into the chase, leading into the steel mill stuff, is so good,
Just
so
action.
clean.
We didn't even talk about the fucking motorcycle chase earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Where he like grabs John Connor
Through the
he's got
LA River.
shotgun through the
Yeah.
LA River, and he's like cocking the gun by like
Yeah.
swinging it around over and over again.
And also you have that part where he walks out of the fire, and it took all of Terminator 1 for us to see Arnold without the skin,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's like a half hour in,
Yeah, it's
we
so
see
cool.
full metal Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you were saying, yes, the chase, like sequence of chases that carry on from the Dyson.
I will
scenes.
say this is something, Griffin, you and I talked about after Avatar about the way Cameron directs action, which is he does it in a way where you can always tell where one character is
Always.
in relation to the other.
100%.
He doesn't Michael Bay it, especially in the later Transformers films,
Yeah.
where you just have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
You just see it's like a flurry of action on screen. This is like clean, well-paced, thought-out action sequences.
Even when the scale of it is really big.
Yeah.
There's a moment that in the LA River motorcycle chase that I was like, this is so indicative of his entire sort of philosophy as an action filmmaker, which is you're mostly focused on John Connor and the dirt bike.
The dirt bike, yeah.
Dirt bike.
Derp
bike.
Yeah, it's a meme.
Okay. T1000, Pepe. T1000 in the truck.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's like what you're focusing on. And Arnold is on a higher
Yeah,
level.
he comes down.
He's in a higher plane. Okay, but before he comes down, you're like focused on cutting back and forth.
Right.
John Connor looking over his shoulder, T1000 in
Yeah.
the truck, the two vehicles together. And then he just cuts in, and it's not like a flash, like a bay, like just snippet. It's like a solid, 6 to 8 seconds shot of just Arnold from behind on his bike at the elevated platform. And then there's the truck, and then there's the dirt bike, and you see them all in one frame.
Right.
So that when, 30 seconds later, Arnold crashes in, you know where it is.
Yeah.
You don't see Arnold doing anything cool. It's actually just three vehicles maintaining the same relative distance from each other. Nothing badass is happening. He's just like, I just want you to know where everyone is. It's just one shot, literally, where he's just like, I just want to make sure you know where everyone is. He picks the LA River because it's a repetitive stretch that looks the same wherever you are. So if you know where they are in relation to each other on the LA River, there aren't twists and turns.
Yeah.
It's not going to change as a background. It's like the fucking best.
And all the little, in the post Dyson chase, a scene I forgot about when Schwarzenegger is on the hood of the truck, just firing into the T1000 through the windshield. It's like, that's so cool.
It's also
It's so fucking cool.
It's so cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. The steel mill is rad. It's just like an epic
I was
looking
thinking
place to
about
have
this.
a final confrontation.
Oh, great choice.
And the colors are just
It
unbelievable.
is. The colors are great.
Yeah.
I feel like when we were kids, lava was the number one killer of all things.
No
right?
question.
Because we played a lot of Super Mario and Sonic and things like that, and Terminator 2.
Right.
It was like, what if you really need to kill something?
Yeah.
Number one option, put it in lava.
And then you
And I
had
think
the
when I was-
competing volcano move.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coast is toast. That was the tagline. That was the tagline for Volcano. It's the greatest tagline that ever happened.
Tagline for both, I think.
No. Dante Speaks tagline was like, that's a Dante. I don't
And you remember their tie-in.
Daunting peak? Is that what you
That's a daunting feat.
know. A Danteing peak.
Can I do it? What? 10 comedy points.
Thank you.
You remember what the Wonder Bread tie-in was for Volcano?
Shoot.
The toast is coast.
Outrageous.
Truly outrageous.
Here is the tagline for Dante's Peak. I shit you not. Exploding soon. No, thank you.
No!
All right, so
Oh!
But then you get, again with satisfying, again with talking about satisfaction, the fight between Schwarzenegger and the T1000 in the steel mill is everything you want to see.
Yeah.
It's him getting thrown against the wall and flipping.
Oh, yeah.
Where he flips, where Arnold punches him in the head and it becomes his hands. It's like, oh,
Great.
It's all
their
so
fights
good.
are so cool.
Yeah.
I love it when they fight and it is like the sort of unstoppable force meets the immovable object shit. Where it's like they don't really know how to deal with each other. Like, especially in those where they grab each other and they kind of just swing each other around and bang off of things.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's no talk. There's none of that terrible like villain
one-liner
hero.
shit.
Yeah, and it's just like they're just two robots fucking fighting each other.
Okay, two things.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Two things. One, I just want to point out that we're 2 hours into our episode. The AC just got turned on.
Yeah, great.
Second of all,
Dun, 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 dun.
dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Second of all,
Lock the gates. He unlocks the gates when he's coming down to the LA River. He unlocks it with a shotgun.
And here's how you know the T-1000 is bad.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't unlock the gates. He morphs through them.
Morphs through the gates. And then he has to like pull his gun through, and it's a cool shot.
That's how you know he's a bad guy, because he doesn't unlock the gates.
You gotta unlock the gates and then lock them.
You must unlock the gates.
Sarah Connor, she locks the gates and snaps the key off.
Right.
That's locking the gates.
Yeah.
Oh,
She was the
smart.
original Mark Maron. I mean, really, if you think about it, Sarah Connor was the original Mark Maron.
She is Mark Maron.
She turns the key and then she looks back at Dr. Silverman and she goes, "So who are you guys?" who are your psychiatrists going up? Who are your big guys?
What you got? Freud, Jung,
The young guy? I mean, when he hit the scene, that was like crazy. I remember I was working the door at the Young Institute. What I was going to say is that a thing this movie does so well is the whole movie you're like, well, how are they going to fucking beat the T-1000? It's actually impossible. Like, you're racking your brain. You're going like, there's no way to stop him.
Yeah. Then they freeze him.
Right. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, and even that didn't work.
It's so cool. The way his like leg snaps off while he's trying to walk.
I would argue the coolest.
It's great.
And then the lava thing is like, of course, that's the one thing you can fucking do is like, he's not going to be able to get out of there. He falls in this thing. But it's this perfect thing where it's like, so many movies you're like, hey, just do that and you'll kill them. You know, it's the classic like Cowboys versus Aliens thing where it's like, just stab him in the stomach. The done. Weakness. Done. Right?
Right.
Or the thing where it's like someone's unstoppable and then they come up with some Deus Ex Machina that's like, that's bullshit. You couldn't stop him.
Yeah, but you got to blow up the core.
Right. You're giving them an out at the last second. And this is like, no, you spend the whole movie going, it's impossible. And then when they present the solution to you, you're like, yeah, that's right. That's smarter than anything I could come up with.
Right.
But that actually totally makes sense.
And from the moment after the freezing thing where he like comes back and reforms, they start showing that the heat is affecting him.
100%.
Without Schwarzenegger having to go, oh, the heat will affect him.
Yep.
It's like they show where he like grabs the pole and his arm gets stuck and like his feet are like melting into the ground, like those like ripples that go through him.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very
cool.
And it's also this thing.
Everything
of, like,
is cool.
The
Everything
steel
is
mill.
cool. It's a cool fucking movie.
I like a good vat. Go on.
The steel mill looks cool. Like, there are fucking, like, Tony Scott reasons to set it in a steel mill because you'll get a lot of cool fucking, like, layers of visuals and whatever.
Yeah.
But it also is, like, the way they beat the T-1000 is environmental, and it could not have happened any earlier in the movie. Like, it's not like, oh, they should have fucking done that an hour ago.
Yeah.
The movie, they can't overcome this obstacle until finally the
They have to lead
circumstances
him
are
there,
right.
yeah.
And it is like the platonic ideal of drama where it's like the environment, the characters, the story. It's all like fucking...
And it's also cool. Yeah, like just...
Even
the fact that she's finally come around to Arnie, you know, and then, but she like kind of has to get rid of him. I don't know. Like, yeah.
She's also come around to John at that point too, because at the beginning, like right after they break out of the
she
insane
won't
asylum,
listen to him. Yeah,
and she's like, I
"You're
didn't
an
need
idiot."
you to
Yeah.
break me out, which is true. She didn't need him. She was in the middle of breaking out when they showed up. And she's like, seems very cold towards him, and he's like crying. He doesn't care. And then by the end, in the steel mill, they're hugging. She's like trying. He can see her trying to protect him, and like what, and like she proves her love to him in those scenes.
And Arnold proves his love to them.
Yeah,
you know,
him coming up on the conveyor belt. And also just following that rocket, that one last shot, that one last like bullet he has, the one last rocket bullet, from the like pickup truck chase to him picking it up to him finding it again.
True.
Like, so good.
And also, Arnold in his final say of the movie, the final amount of battle damage is one of the coolest looking characters in history.
That is true. They find the perfect like mix of
the exposed kneecap, the scrape across the chest
The
with
eye.
the shirt ripped
One
off,
arm.
one arm, the total eye.
Yeah.
It's the fucking best.
And then they kill the guy.
He can't self-terminate.
Well,
They
he
killed
now
T-1000.
knows why,
He now knows why we cry.
right? And then he does the final thumbs up.
But also,
But it is cool when they blow up Robert Patrick,
Oh, yeah.
and he's like this weird like puppet thing that's like,
Yeah, I
and his
love
like
it.
head is hanging upside down.
He does look a little like a Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I
thing.
know that I just keep saying that everything is cool in
Yeah.
this movie, but everything's really cool.
Well, 'cause
I
it's
don't,
a
what am I
cool
supposed
movie.
to fucking do?
It's the coolest
What do you want me to
movie.
do?
and it's a little Matrix-y
Oh,
when
yeah.
he falls into the vat and it like goes, his like mouth opens up.
Yeah.
And it like
yeah.
and it like turns him inside
Oh,
out.
and yeah, and he like turns into the different things he turned into. That's cool.
And today, they would have fucking green screened everyone in.
Oh yeah,
but
Annette Goldstein says in that thing, every single actor who he like takes the form of at some point was in that fucking tank,
and they covered them with goo.
The detail I really liked that she had was because they had to do so many takes and because she had to be dry at the beginning of each one that she's wearing a wig in that. So they could have a series of wigs and like have her drown, come back up, new wig, you're dried off.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
But then, he does now know why we cry because he has to self-terminate.
Yeah.
Because,
he's going to miss them.
He's got but also he's got that chip in his brain. They got to get rid of him.
Does that imply that he now feels emotion? I've thought about that line a lot because it's like,
he understands emotion.
He understands the concept of emotion.
He gets it.
Because I also
intellectually
watching this after having watched Star Trek: The Next Generation, I think there's a lot of
it's a lot of data stuff.
Stuff, and also like a character that had existed. Like what? Because that was '89, right? That show started.
87.
87, really.
Mm-hmm.
So like Data was already a beloved character at that point. I think they incorporated some data into him.
I mean, that's sort of now mocked thing of like, why do you cry? Like,
sure.
What's that water coming from your face? Like, or whatever.
But I also think...
Are you leaking?
Not that he's ripping himself off, quite the contrary. A lot of shades of Ripley and Bishop in Alien.
No. He wears shades on his face.
Right.
Sunglasses.
Right.
That's what you're talking about.
Right. Yes.
No, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Bishop. Of course. Bishop's great.
Free comedy points.
Thank you.
Really? But there's that same thing in Aliens where, like, Ripley just inherently doesn't trust Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, she, it's like the not bad, for a robot.
It's great.
But
it's a satisfying. I agree with that. Like
he takes you home. Cameron takes you home.
Satisfying movie.
He gives you a ride home.
And her emotional journey is at the end of this movie. She's like, look, maybe there's hope for us all if a robot can figure this shit out,
I so wish the franchise had ended. I really wish there wasn't
James Cameron
else.
had made Terminator 3. Like that, I'd be fine with that too. I just am not fine with what happened.
But don't you think the reason James Cameron never made Terminator 3 is because he knew there was no satisfying third Terminator?
Maybe, but I think it's also the Linda Hamilton shit.
Probably.
I think there was that, and I think the other element was the rights were so fucked up for so long.
And the ride is great.
The ride's amazing. The ride's the best.
If the ride still exists, if anyone can go see the ride.
T2, I think it's Japan made. There's one operating T2 3D.
Let me look it up.
It's really good.
All right, so we should wrap up, but we should play the box office game.
Okay, and then I have your favorite segment. But let's do the box office game.
Is it the orange Swiss file?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, box office. This film made $204 million domestic.
Number one film of that year.
Yes, $519 million worldwide.
Hey now.
Adjusted for today, that is $420 domestic, and they don't do the worldwide because they can't adjust it.
Was it? Did it open 4th of July weekend?
It opened on 4th of July weekend.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. To number one at the box office with $31 million, which I think at the time was a record opening.
And that was the 3-day or the 4 or the 5-day or whatever.
Thank you for asking that.
Hey now.
Because the 4-day weekend or whatever it is was $52 million. Oh my God, in 91.
Wow. So I didn't look at the other films, right? Because I didn't want to cheat on this, but I just looked at when you can sort of see the weekend by weekend breakdown without seeing on Box Office Mojo what the other films were. I think adjusted opening weekend would have been like 80, 100.
Do you want me to adjust?
Yeah.
Shall I adjust?
Yeah, I think it was like just about $100 million weekend in today's
107.
dollar. Yeah, crazy.
Very good job, guys.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
So number one is that movie. Number two is the film that was number one the previous week, a comedy sequel.
Now, we've never had...
with a hilarious title.
I'll say this. We've never had a guest on who I felt like could go toe-to-toe in the
I don't know
box
if I
office
can
game.
do this with you.
I think you have a better shot than anyone else.
Not in
we've had
91.
on. Okay, so 91, it's a comedy with a hilarious... It's a comedy sequel with a hilarious title? Is that what you said?
I think it's a funny title, but it's messing with the very formula.
Just while you think about this, I'm going to compliment you too because Elena and I have listened to this podcast together.
Oh, and you play the game?
I know I can't.
I mean, whatever.
You play the home game. Yeah, we have the board game.
Mm-hmm.
She's been like, I can't believe Griffin can do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's amazing what you'll pull out. It's true.
I mean, you're like When it comes to
me,
movies, so smart and other stuff, like
I'm an idiot.
Complete fucking
People
idiot.
ask me all the time, like, how do you know
Holy
all this? It's like, you would be...
It's
it's
80%.
the only thing you have in your head.
You'd actually be frightened if you knew what I don't know.
It's like
the things
Sometimes
I
I'll
don't know.
sit down and just think, like, how does Griffin do this? Like some
No.
sort of basic life
No,
thing.
most like largely no.
90% movie stuff, 10% places to poop in NYC.
Yeah. Well, I've got that 10%.
Do you know how happy I am that the tick got picked up? Because it's like, I don't got a lot of options.
Yeah, right.
There's a couple of things I can do really
All right,
well.
So what was number 2 in 1991, the weekend of July 4th?
I just want to point out, past guest Morgan Evans, at Comic-Con, we were at a party together, and he just played a game where he picked the top 100 films of all time at the domestic box office. And would be like, this was the final total, and I could usually get it right, and if I was wrong, I was like, oh no, that was 37. Okay, so one above it was.
Okay.
Anyway.
Good job bragging.
Okay. So it's playing with the very...
Hot Shots Part 2.
Not that. Good guess, though.
It's not Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit, is
It's
it?
not that either.
So you're saying...
That title is hilarious,
it's
of course.
a hilarious
the pun.
When you're saying it's playing off of it, you're saying it incorporates the idea that's a sequel. The joke has to play off of the fact that it's a 2 in the title.
You have a guess.
Is it a comma TOO?
No. Which I don't think is funny.
I don't either.
And I don't want you to do it.
I was testing you and you passed.
Sequels.
Okay. I don't...
There's another sequel in this top 5.
Interesting.
But it's not.
Can I ask,
this.
was there a third?
There was.
Is it Look Who's Talking?
No.
Yeah, because he said it's not a comma
It's not
TOO.
a TOO.
Oh, okay, that was TOO.
But it plays off the 2. You think it is funny, the way they used the title.
As a kid, I thought it was funny. It's not funny.
Okay.
It's not that funny.
Is it numeral 2? Is that the
Yes.
joke they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Is in the title. Jesus Christ.
It's not. Okay.
I almost got excited. Is it Beethoven's Second?
It's not. Good guess. I think it's a little later.
But that is worth getting excited over. Okay, I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
Yeah.
Can you tell me again what the weekend gross was, and can you tell me what the final gross was on the film?
Weekend gross this week, $11 million. Final gross on this film, $86 million domestic.
Not bad for a comedy sequel.
Pretty good. About
Pretty
quadruple
good.
its budget.
1991, and it got a third.
Got a third, but not a... No, just 3.
Definitely just a third.
And the third also has a hilarious title playing with the very nature of its sequel.
Did all 3 feature the same actor?
Yes.
David, I'm so embarrassed it took me this long to think of what it is.
I know, you're embarrassed.
It's Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear.
That is correct. Well done. Yes.
I'm very embarrassed. That's actually my favorite
I figured
of the
you were
Naked
gonna
Gun
get it.
films. I think that's the best
I
of the
agree.
3.
I think it's the best one, too.
Once a year, I rewatch all 3, and I'm always... I feel like I'm close.
Remind me, what was the second one?
The second one is... Jesus Christ, I always get the plots confused. The second one is the one with Richard Griffiths, where he's the professor
where
in the
they're
wheel.
twins. And
Right.
they're twins. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And all the stuff with the Queen of England.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? No, because the first one's the Queen of
Guys,
England at the game.
I'm going to fucking kill you. All right.
Third one's the Academy Award.
Third one's the Oscars, yeah. All right, number 3
The weakest
is
of the
one of the biggest movies of that year. A huge hit, starring someone Griffin has worked with.
Right. I was going to guess it before you even said. I feel bad that you gave me that.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, right, yeah.
Everything I do it for you.
The cause.
Number 4 is another one of the biggest hits of the year.
Okay.
A hilarious nebbishy comedy that was, I believe, the first R-rated movie I ever saw. I think it's R-rated.
It's a nebbishy comedy. And it's one of the...
You know what? It's not R-rated, but it was rated 15 in the UK.
Interesting.
But it is a PG-13.
So it would have been more objectionable by British standards.
I guess so.
Okay.
It made $125 million domestic.
And it's a comedy.
179 worldwide. People forget. People remember that this movie was a hit. They forget that it was a huge hit.
The actual level it was at.
And like in its third week, it's made $74 million.
And it's nebbishy. Is the entire
Sorry,
tone
it's
of the
fifth week? Sorry,
the entire tone of the film nebbishy, the lead actor nebbishy, or both?
More the lead actor. The comedy is in the incongruity.
Sure.
You know, you got a nebbishy couple guys. 3 guys, actually.
Oh, 3 nebbishes. I think I know what it is. It's a sequel, right?
It's not a sequel.
This is the first one?
Mm-hmm. But you know what it is. It's an Oscar-winning film.
Oh, then I was going to get it wrong, but now let me think about it. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I was led astray. For a second, I thought it was 3 Men and a Little Lady.
Sure.
It is not that. It is, in
No.
fact, City Slickers.
Correct. 3 Men and a Little Lady didn't make that kind of cheese.
No, 3 Men and a Baby did.
Oh, yeah.
3 Men and a Baby was the highest
yeah.
grossing film of its year.
Of 1989, right?
Yeah, fucking Leonard Nimoy joint.
88, because I think Batman was 89.
God
That's a
damn
Nimoy
it! It
joint.
was City Slickers.
It was City Slickers.
God
I've
damn
been
it.
guessing that as a joke for many episodes.
It was City Slickers.
God damn it! I was gonna say it as a lark, and it was really the movie. All right, go on.
I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal's first ever on-screen
It is.
appearance.
It is.
Number 5 is a sequel.
And it was definitely PG-13. I wonder why the Brits had such a tough time with that
Maybe
movie.
they say fuck a couple times.
That's what it was. It's too American for them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because there's a cow birth scene.
There is a cowboy. I have not seen it since I saw it when I was like 10 years old.
British censors
All right.
hate cow vagina.
Jack
that was
Palance,
the
speaking of
biggest-
Oscars.
Yeah.
Best
Well,
supporting.
that's what I said. It won an
Yeah,
Oscar.
he said it won an Oscar.
So number 5 is a sequel to a comedy movie. I never saw these movies. They always freaked me out when I was a kid. The video, the poster.
This is fascinating that 3 out of the 5 are comedies.
Hey, it was a funny time in America. Murder was at an all-time high.
91 people went to laugh.
Yeah.
The LA like fucking riots had just happened.
3 out of the 5, and all of them were franchises. I mean, they're 2 City Slickers.
Yeah,
Naked
I mean,
Gun, yeah.
this one is not a This is
Okay.
them maybe trying to make a franchise. I mean, honestly, which is sort of the same that happened to City Slickers. I mean,
Right.
nobody really wanted to know what the legend of Curly's Gold was.
I thought I did until I found out. I was proven wrong.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, no one, I mean, the person who looked at that movie was like, this needs Lovitz.
Yeah.
Like, it made a big
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah, they took a bad turn the second they lost Bruno
So
Kirby.
I've never
Okay.
seen either of these movies. I don't know.
There are 2 of them.
This is a sequel.
This
I
is
told
the
you.
second one. It's a comedy. Okay, you don't like it.
But I've never seen them. I just don't like it. I just sort of would upset me.
No, I get it.
Okay, and
I'll
give me the numbers again. Give me the numbers again.
Oh
Hold on.
fuck! This made $5 million in its opening weekend and 25 total.
Oh, so the sequel fucking belly flop.
No way, Jose.
And when was the first one?
I'll
from?
tell you this: this movie was written by the people who went on to create American Crime Story: The People vs. O.J. Simpson, Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski.
Is it one of the Problem Child pictures? It's Problem Child 2.
You got it.
I think there was a Problem Child 3.
I'm looking that up.
I think it went maybe straight to video, but I believe there was a Problem Child 3. That was the whole thing, was that like when they wrote Ed Wood.
Junior in Love, but it was a TV.
Okay.
Is Clifford part of the Problem Child franchise?
Maybe.
part of
Isn't
Problem
Martin
Child
Short's
universe?
Clifford in the...
How dare you, sir? That is a fantastic movie.
Hey, Ben.
I
Sam is our
like
guest.
Charles Grodin
Sam is
a
our
lot.
guest. I do too. We
I
all love
wasn't
Charles Grodin.
saying it was bad. I was
I
asking
wanna
if it was
say
in the
Mason.
universe.
Some other movies in the top 10. The Rocketeer,
Oh,
cult
hey.
classic.
Oh.
Dying Young.
Oh.
Yeah, no, nothing with old Julia Robbs and
Which-
Campbell Scotts.
Let's not forget,
Which we did talk about on their singles episode. Yes,
Premiere Magazine famously predicted it would be the highest-grossing film of the summer.
it wasn't.
No, they guessed it would outgross all of the films we've already discussed.
Backdraft. Ron Howard Fireman Joint.
Ooh.
Howie
Soap
Long.
Dish.
How we love
Another Crystal.
Hey,
I like Soap Dish.
No, wait,
Guys.
Crystal's not in that one.
No,
Guys.
you're thinking
Crystal's
of
in
soap.
Soap, right.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 hours.
I know.
Almost.
And then Thelma and Louise is in there. I know. We're done. We're
We're
done.
done.
What's your dumb segment you want to do?
Merchandise
God.
spotlight.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
there's so much.
There's
a lot of
one.
toys.
There's one in particular. Okay. The teaser trailer for Terminator 2 was great.
Is that the one that ends with "This time there are 2"?
I think that was the first official trailer. The teaser trailer
Sure.
was all footage that
This
wasn't in
time
the movie.
There are 2. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if Cameron shot it. It was like one of those like made just to be a teasers. And it was the Terminator factory line.
Oh, I
saw
saw
the
that.
Oh yeah, that
I
was very
remember
cool.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
And the teaser blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of the few times there's
It went viral on YouTube in
No
1991.
question.
Yeah.
merchandise made off of a teaser, something that does not appear in the film. There was a toy, my friend had it. This was years before I saw Terminator 2, called the BioFlesh Regenerator. And it was a replication of this. You'd get a little plastic endoskeleton, and then there was like the factory line, and there was like plastic, like pink, like gummy goop, and you would pour
I think I remember
into
this.
like a mold. There we go.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's like
I
a
remember
mold.
this.
It almost looks like a creepy crawlers type thing.
Oh, I remember this too. I
Right?
had a friend who had this.
It's a weird thing. So it's like essentially it's a creepy crawlers, but with the skeleton
right.
planted
It's like
inside
creepy
of
crawlers,
it.
right?
And then what you would do was there was a little plastic scalpel, and you can cut away and show the
and, like,
damage.
damage them.
And it would smell terrible.
Sure.
It was cool
God
to look
knows
at,
what we were being exposed to
Right.
as children.
but it smelled terrible. It felt really gross in your hands, and then it was very hard to wash off. But I remember just being like, someday I'm going to watch this franchise. This toy inspired me to one day watch the Terminator movies. The
Man,
BioFlesh Regenerator, you can find a lot of YouTube videos of people using it. It's a creepy, weird toy. especially because it's not contained within the film at all. It's based off of a teaser.
Also, very quickly, the credit song, "You Could Be Mine" by Guns N' Roses.
True.
Also,
at the height of their success.
And they tease it a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah,
right.
They do.
Dirt Bike Johnny.
It's weird. Apparently, Arnold negotiated with them to have the song be in the movie.
Okay.
And then also, there's a moment you might recall when Arnie first pulls out the gun from the flower box.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a play on Guns N' Roses.
It's a gun in a box of roses.
You're welcome.
Then he steps on the rose.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll say, like,
It's good when he steps on the
Guns N' Roses and Public Enemy were, like, two of my favorite bands in, like, my angsty days.
Still are.
Yeah, still are. But certainly at that time, like, this movie spoke to me so hard where I was like, you're repping my two main, like, bro bands?
Oh, boy.
My bro bands.
Have you been chatting with Chuck D anytime recently?
No, Chuck D does follow me on Twitter because he said he liked Draft
cool.
Day.
Yeah, it's very cool.
He
I
tweeted
remember
he was
that.
watching
It was
Draft
very
Day and
exciting.
cracking up.
And you like, you harangued him on Twitter until he followed you.
Yes, and then someone retweeted my haranguing, and then he responded to the person who retweeted it and was like, "Hey man, sorry." To my friend Sam Boyd, he was like, "Great work in the movie," and then I was like, "Hi, Chuck D, sorry to bother you. Appreciate you saying the kind things. You meant to direct this towards me. I'm not going to go to sleep until you write to me that you like the movie," and he did. And he follows me on Twitter, Chuck D, future guest of this show.
I'm all for it.
This has been our Terminator episode, and boy, did we have a great guest on this one.
Hey,
yes, we did,
guys. Thanks so much for having me. This is one of my favorite movies. Always a pleasure to talk about it.
Come on, we went rogue on this episode. Rogal, that is.
I've been listening.
And with that, it's all been dashed.
Rogue Nation.
I've been binging your show. I think it's a great show, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
That's such a good show.
It's always
Your guys' voices are in my head quite often.
It's weird to think about that.
His girlfriend won't stop complaining about it.
Oh, boy.
Right? In the bedroom. Okay, so this is Terminator 2, Sam Rogal. You're the best. People can catch you. Metal Boy. At the Magnet.
Wednesdays. I'm also Fridays at the Magnet. Friday night show every Friday at 8:30, including tonight.
Oh my God!
So if you go into the past and listen,
Well, we
to
are
this,
recording
right,
this on a
this
Friday.
is gonna come out like
Right.
3 or 4
But
days
you know,
from now. But every Friday.
It's Friday.
every Friday,
sometime.
every Wednesday, every Friday at the Magnet, you will see me.
You can be seen
perform
every
in Friday.
Friday, every
Yeah.
Wednesday. Ben, thank you for producing the show. Please remember to
no problem.
Yeah, rate, review, subscribe. I owe you one.
Great.
Yeah. Next week we will be talking about True Lies.
Trulies.
Trulies with
Trulies.
and this is exciting. With Jerome Milligan. We are completing our run of the Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood hosts.
That's right.
Long promised, Gerald will be our guest, and we are very, very excited for that. Hope you listen to that.
Agreed.
Hope you keep terminating.
Please keep on terminating.
Uh,
Maybe we'll do the careers of Jonathan Mostow one day, and we'll do Terminator 3.
Yeah, U571, baby.
Not a bad movie.
U-Pod 7 cast.
What?
I just want your laugh is very genuine right now, and I want the microphones to pick it up. U-Pod 7 cast.
McConaughey's in that joint.
Yeah, he is.
All right.
Thank you for listening.
Yep. And as always.
And as always, all lives matter.
Oh, no!
No, Griffin!
You got me.
Play it twice, Ben. Play it twice.
Fine. And we're out.
What are you doing?
Why, the quote I'm trying to
No, I
find.
know. What are you doing?
Well, I don't want to ruin it.
Well,
for
why don't you tell me?
That's part of the
Why
fun.
don't you
is
fucking tell me what you're doing?
That's the opposite of what I want to
I
do
wish you could tell me.
right now.
Hey, I was thinking about how in the first movie, the future they portray, it doesn't happen in the second one because they changed time.
They did.
Hells yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's cool.
They do still portray a future.
Yeah, but it's a different version of the future.
Yeah, it's how they get away with it looking way cooler.
Hell yeah.
So this quote is long enough that you couldn't memorize
Yeah, what
it.
the hell, Griffin?
I want to get it
Don't
right.
do a super long thing.
It's not going to be a super
Okay.
long one. I did that last time. I don't.
And it's never any good.
It always kills. Yeah, it's shorter than I thought it was.
It's shorter than you thought it was.
Yeah. I thought
Hey, Liquid Metal Man, that shit holds up.
That looks great.
Guys, let's start
Save
the
it for
podcast.
the podcast.
This has been a UCB Comedy production. Check out our other shows on the UCB Comedy Podcast Network.